They call me Dan, the Lakers fan. And I got a master plan for the Lakers back to the promised land. Spread the vision through my people, cause we fans are equal. When we reach 20K subs, yeah, we gon' drop a sequel. Another Laker anthem track, watch me run it back. Got the keys to the city where my Laker jet.
What up, NBA family? How y'all doing today, man? It is day 2 of NBA free agency, and boy, did we hit the ground running today. Okay, because crazy things happened, starting with the Bucks, where it was a seismic shift that nobody expected. But this is why we love free agency, and 2025 has been one of the best that I can remember in years. But good morning. Hopefully everybody's doing good. What up, Kimmy Goat, Nate the Great, Tasia? Good to see you guys all. Welcome to another live stream, guys. If you guys want this to go on for more than an hour, hit that like button. Let's get to 500 again, just like yesterday. But all right, let's start it off with the obvious. Well, actually, before I even get to that, before I went live, we got a couple of breaking news reports here. First of all, free agent Jericho Sims has agreed to a 2-year deal with the Milwaukee Bucks. So we're going to start with the small stuff, right, including a player option for the second season. And then Dennis Schroeder agreed to a 3-year, $45 million deal with the Sacramento Kings. Okay, so those two deals right there just happened right now, right as I was going live. I want to make sure we get those out of the way because those are the small ones, all right? But let's talk about the big fish, man, the big deal that happened. The Milwaukee Bucks informing Damian Lillard that he is being waived and stretched the remainder of his $22.5 million yearly contract, right, over the next 5 years. That's got to be the biggest waiving in the history of the NBA. That shocked the world and sent, but then they followed that up by stealing, and I mean absolutely stealing, Myles Turner from the Indiana Pacers, right? Agreeing to a 4-year, $107 million deal with the Milwaukee Bucks, plus a player option for the 4th year. Wow. Just absolute wow. What a freaking shocker. I'm at a loss of words because, well, I did kind of remember what I told you guys during the playoffs, that I felt like the Pacers were on a Cinderella run and they weren't going to be able to hold it together, that Myles Turner could walk because they didn't re-up him. That's exactly what happened there, right? The thing is, when you make it to the finals, you're not guaranteed another finals run. If you're Tyrese Halliburton, you got to be shocked, right? You got to be shocked. Anybody associated with the Pacers, you have to be shocked. Appreciate you, AP. I'll check it out. I'll update right after this video. But you have to be shocked. You have to be shocked because this is just insane. Nobody saw this coming. Not even your boy. Usually I can see a lot of things coming, but not even your boy saw this coming. And I'll tell you, man, the waving and the stretching of Damian Lillard did not, according to reports, rub Giannis Antetokounmpo the right way. Right? Can we in the future see this being the reason this man opens up his trade demands? Maybe so. But for now, Myles Turner agreeing to a 4-year deal, quickly replenishing and replacing Brook Lopez production and getting better. And getting better, right? All of that, guys, is a testament to the Bucks. I mean, they had to do what they had to do. It was a desperate move for them. But it's not a good look for the franchise. I mean, it wasn't like it was a landing destination already, right? It was not a landing destination already. And then you go from that to, waiving an injured player like Dame, kicking into the curb after. First of all, Damian Lillard, I feel for him because he never wanted to be in Milwaukee. He plays for them, right? He gets injured, and then that happens. Now the Bucks, looks like breaking news, the Bucks are trading Pat Connaughton and 2 second-round picks to the Hornets for, oh my God, Vilseji Milicic or something like that. Again, tough to say that player's name. But bottom line is they made another trade. The Bucks are desperate. All right. Obviously, the trade for Damian Lillard didn't live up to the hype. He ends up getting waived and stretched, which, again, mind-blowing to me. Mind-blowing. But definitely not a good look for the Bucks. If you're a free agent, why in the hell would I ever want to sign with a team like the Bucks? If you're Giannis, why in the hell would I pledge my loyalty to you? You couldn't even stay loyal next to Dame while he rehabbed his injury. Right? So it's like, good morning, sis. Yeah, just seen it right now. It's like everybody's making crazy, desperate moves. We knew this offseason was going to be nuts, but that right there, fam, is everything, man. That right there is everything. That could really shift everything. And by the way, I want to talk about Myles Turner to the Bucks because yes, that does make them better than Brook Lopez, but only slightly. It's not like a huge difference. Let's be honest. We all saw the finals. We saw how Myles Turner can disappear. Much as I like him for defensive purposes, he can disappear from time to time. And he shrank part during certain parts of that NBA Finals. Let's be honest. But yeah, Lillard being waived in stretch is crazy, and I wonder, he will end up Lillard to the Lakers? I doubt it. To be honest, we don't need another guard, and then we can't afford to have somebody just rehabbing on the bench. Appreciate you, Alvin. Hey, thank you, man. Appreciate the the positivity. Rob got to wake up. Well, actually, people were reporting that the Bucks were a threat to land DeAndre Ayton. Based on my source, they were never a threat. I never reported this. It was always the Lakers, guys. The Lakers. This is why I said the Lakers and DeAndre Ayton had mutual interest yesterday. I try not to report false rumors. There was people saying that Brook Lopez was guaranteed to be a Laker. First of all, nothing is guaranteed till it's guaranteed. All right, so I try to stay away from false reports. But now that I have a source, my source confirmed yesterday that Ayton and the Lakers had mutual interest. That's why I reported it. Some people doubted my report, but I'm telling you right now, I don't report it unless I'm 100% sure of it. And so this should ease a lot of Laker fans' minds, right? The fact that it seems like Ayton and the Lakers is a marriage already. Like it's bound to happen, right? It's only a matter of when he clears waivers. By the way, let me see if I can pull this up really quick because I want to share it with you guys. People saying that Giannis may or may not be happy, right? That Giannis may or may not be happy. Well, Giannis himself is tweeting interesting things, right? Giannis himself is retweeting comments of saying Brook Lopez should have retired a Laker. I'm sorry, Brook Lopez should have retired a Buck, right? Giannis himself, I can't find the tweet right now, but he's saying, I could almost read it in his tone of voice and verbiage, 1,000%. Giannis himself is out here retweeting things that seem controversial, but that is not what I want to share with you guys. What I want to share with you guys is more important. All right, DeAndre Ayton. All right, look at the hat he's wearing, chat. Just look at the hat he's wearing. It's an LA Dodger hat. All right, he's right here on a plane. Okay, I'm telling y'all, I told you this yesterday. There was mutual interest between both parties. The Lakers didn't make many moves. The reason I wasn't concerned was because my source had already informed me that the main move we were going to make this offseason was probably going to be DeAndre Ayton. Everything around that is around the fringes. That addresses one of our main concerns, which is a starting caliber big man, right? So that's why I'm not panicking. However, if you're Rob Pelinka, we got reports yesterday that he was saving his money for 2 years down the road to try to go out and acquire Giannis. Excuse me. You have Luka Doncic and you have LeBron James on your team right now. The only reason I would be doing this if I was the Lakers is if I was trying to push LeBron James out of the door. If I wanted LeBron James to request a trade and not look like the bad guy, I would have this type of offseason where I'm reporting that I'm waiting 2 years down the road. If you're Luka Doncic, you don't want to hear that crap. Okay, you want to hear that, hey, we got LeBron now. We got me right now. Let's go out and make the final trades and make the final free agent acquisitions to get us to win. Right? And I think that's why a lot of fans are turning on Rob right now. That's why a lot of fans have, a lot of negative things to say about Rob Pelinka, right? But yeah, let's talk about the other moves that have happened before we come back to Lakers. This could be a full Laker video, but it is a free agent video. All right. Sacramento Kings traded Jonas Valanciunas to the Denver Nuggets for Dario Saric. So again, the Denver Nuggets getting more size and depth in the paint. They figured out the blueprint to this whole thing. The Lakers have as well, but we haven't made a move yet. After DeAndre Ayton, we have to go make another move, guys. We have to make another move in order to stay competitive in this West, just to compete. Gary Harris to Bucks, Valanciunas to Denver. I know, right? Listen, that's just the thing, fam, is that everybody's getting better, and the Lakers are waiting for DeAndre Ayton. You know, any chance Giannis comes to the Lakers? There is a chance, but it'll have to be through free agency. I don't think we have enough of a haul to trade for him. He's still in the contract for the next 2 years. I don't think we have enough of a haul to trade for him, and still hold on to Luka and LeBron. And LeBron has a no trade clause. So for those people that say trade LeBron for Giannis, not going to happen. LeBron doesn't want to go to Milwaukee by himself, right, with Myles Turner. No. So, yeah, not going to happen. I think the only chance you have of Giannis is what Rob is doing. He's loading up on 2-year deals, and he's trying to keep his cap flexibility for 2027. That's it. That's it. And that year is a lot of good max free agents, starting with Giannis, right? So there you have it, man. There you have it. But good morning, man. We're going to be here for the next hour. Make sure y'all hit that like button. We get to 500 likes before the top of the hour. We stay another hour. That's the deal right there. All right. Jess says, yo, Dan, thank you for this. I got you, fam. I got you guys, man. Free agency. As long as there's news, rumors, breaking news, I'm going to be live with you guys throughout the next couple of days until everything goes dry. And then I'll just go live for the Lakers stuff. But, yeah, I mean, what a shocker. Damian Lillard waved and stretched. Right, Myles Turner signed, and just like my prediction, I said the Pacers better capitalize this year because next year they might not show up. They're definitely not going to show up to the finals again. All right, it might be a while till we even mention them in the contender conversation. If you're Tyrese Halliburton, you got to be heartbroken because you gave it your all, man. You played on an injured leg, and the Pacers couldn't even re-up with Myles Turner. That is definitely. So this is what we're being told is that the Pacers never offered Turner more than $20 million. All right, that is a very shocking decision to let Turner walk for nothing. They never really offered him more than $20 million. In other news, free agent center or power forward Yabusele has agreed to a 2-year, $12 million deal with the New York Knicks. I have to say that is a very good acquisition for the Knicks. Very good acquisition for the Knicks. Amazing. All right, I always liked Yabusele. Since they acquired him last year, the Sixers did, and now he goes to the Knicks. Very solid, man. The Knicks got better. They got Jordan Clarkson. They got Yabusele. Call it an offseason. The depth is there now. The depth is there. Tasia said, why waste 2 prime years of Luka and still great LeBron? Make it make sense. Luka is ready to win now. For some reason, I just don't believe that report unless they were trying to push LeBron out of the door, Tasia. I'll be honest with you. New ownership might be coming in and saying, well, you no longer get an input here. We're tired of Rich Paul. And, we're tired of the threats because there has been threats. The threats of LeBron James trying to see what we do this offseason. Lakers may do the minimal, which is signing DeAndre Ayton in 2-year contracts. Jake LaRabia was a 2-year deal, right? I don't know what other contract we're going to sign, but it might be a 2-year deal. If that happens, then it completely signals to LeBron James, we're not trying to build around you. We're building around Luka. And in 2 years, we're going to go get him a different co-star. We're already thinking of your replacement. That is what it signals to LeBron James. Now, the only problem I have is that now you're playing with fire. Because if I'm Luka, I'm sitting back like, we lost DFS. We might lose LeBron at the trade deadline if he requests out because only he can with his trade clause, with his no trade clause. And you guys want me to sign an extension? Like, if I'm Luka, I'm really considering my options if this is the way free agency goes. However, I do believe Luka will be happy with the fact that we're trying to build around him. I do believe Luka will be happy with DeAndre Ayton, and who knows who else we got. Al Horford is a very intriguing piece. If we can somehow get Ayton and Horford, we win. We win this offseason, right? So, but that's a big if. I think Horford, from what I'm hearing, there's serious interest from the Golden State Warriors, mutual interest between them. They might have to work out some things and stuff, trades before they can acquire him, but I'm hearing that, yeah, basically just like I heard yesterday about Ayton to the Lakers, I'm hearing Horford to the Warriors. Now, I'm not going to sit here and guarantee anything because nothing is guaranteed until it's pen to paper, right? You could ask some of my fellow coworkers that have guaranteed things before on stream. It doesn't end well for them when people figure out they were lying and they were trying to be first to report it. I never lie to the good people. DeAndre Ayton to Lakers is not official, but I did mention, like I said yesterday, it is. My source confirmed it is very likely. That's why I reported on it. All right, Keith, What was Rob's original plan A before DeAndre Ayton became the buyout? Just curious. My theory, I don't know what he was thinking, but my theory is it was probably going to be Capella and something else, or Brook Lopez and something else. But once DeAndre Ayton become available, he fits better the timeline with Luka. And here's a piece that's going to be on a 1-year trial, maybe even 2-year deal. I think it's a 1-year deal. He's going to be on a trial period to see how well he works with Luka. If he does, he might make big money with the Lakers. This could be one of those prove it deals. Like, okay, here's the minimum we could pay you, but we like you for the long haul. You could be our center for the long haul. That's the upside with somebody like DeAndre Ayton versus a Capella or a Brook Lopez, who would have just been stopgap players just for now, just to plug up the leaking, right? But appreciate you, Keith. Thank you for super chat, my guy. Let's see. Al Horford would be great off the bench. Yes. Dream case scenario, DeAndre Ayton starting, Al Horford off the bench is a big man. And then we already got Jake LaRavia, who I've been doing my research more on. Again, I didn't really watch too much of the Kings last year or any teams he was on like that. But he is a 6'8" guard who seems to be able to create his own shot, and he seems intriguing. Statistically, he's a good three-point shooter. Seems like he'll fit whatever JJ's trying to do here. However, I just think it rubbed people the wrong way because that was the first person Rob Pelinka called. It definitely rubs people the wrong way when that's the first person you call. You really don't want to, you don't want to hear that as a Laker fan, right? Now, per Chris Haynes, shout out to AJ Rosas for sending me this. The Miami Heat are a team to look out for Damian Lillard as he enters his first free agency. Now, mind you, I do believe he'll go there. That's where he wanted to be in the beginning before he got traded to Milwaukee. And again, I feel bad for Damian. He played for Milwaukee even though he didn't want to be there. And look what happened. Not only did he get traded, but he got waived and stretched. Right? It's crazy, y'all. We still need to keep Jackson Hayes for third center. He is very athletic and could be great for us in certain situations. Third string, I wouldn't mind, even though I don't want him back. I would much rather have Jemison III, who was on a 2-way contract last year. Bigger body, with tougher screens, and just a bulldozer down low. Just somebody who you could use for playoffs for a couple of extra fouls, some rebounds. If you need energy. Coach has to get creative and utilize pieces the right way. For Jackson, I've seen enough in the postseason to know that he doesn't have much more of a ceiling than what he already is. Yes, he's a great lob threat catcher. That's about it. He doesn't rim protect really well. Unless he's on the weak side. He might catch a block here and there every once in a blue moon. He doesn't rebound really well. Only thing he does is catch lobs and run the floor. It's not much you're bringing to the table. I much prefer a dirty worker, somebody who set tough screens, get a second chance rebounds, and just do the little things. Just the little things. We don't need something special to be the third option, but we do need an insurance policy there. If Ayton goes to the Warriors, then we have failed this free agency. We have completely failed. We sat around, waited for him. Again, according to my sources, mutual interest, heavy mutual interest. He's out here wearing the LA hat. You'd have to really drop the bomb. You'd have to really drop the ball in order for Ayton to go to the Warriors, right? Let me ask you this, Tasia. If you're DeAndre Ayton or anybody in the chat, who would you guys rather play with? Curry, right? Or LeBron and Luka? Let's be honest. Luka's in the prime. They just match each other's timeline perfectly. They're both, DeAndre's about to be 27. They're both essentially the same age. That's who I want to go to. Somebody I can grow with and get better with. And then I would look. Curry, to be honest, he's not making any centers better. Curry not making Kevon Looney better. Right? Curry just makes the team better by sniping, shooting threes. If you're Ayton and you want your next big contract, you want somebody like Luka, somebody like LeBron, even Austin, who can play make, who can be lob threats off the pick and roll. Golden State's just trying to space. They're trying to keep you out of the paint, right? So the better fit is clearly the Lakers. I'm not concerned about him. I'd be shocked if we don't get DeAndre Ayton. I would be furious if we didn't get DeAndre Ayton based on the intel that I have. He actually played better when he was in Memphis. Who are we talking about? Jake LaRavia? Yeah, he's an interesting prospect for sure. For sure. But that's all he is. He's a prospect, 23 years of age. That's why I can just call him a prospect for now. Let's see if he turns into a rotational piece moving forward, right? David, what's up, my friend? How you doing? Good to see you, man. He said there's a rumor that LeBron James will be traded to the Mavs. What do you think? Well, I touched on this yesterday, right? I touched on this last night, guys, and pretty much I believe if the Lakers want to push LeBron James out, they hand out a bunch of 2-year contracts and signal to him that we're looking to the future more than for the now. If you do that to him and he's not happy, then there is a chance he could request a trade. Also, I find it interesting because yesterday I mentioned 4 teams that I could see him going to. Guess who? I think, was it Brian Windhorst mentioned the exact same 4 teams. Okay, the Knicks. We can get like a package around OG Anunoby, maybe a draft pick and some other role players. The Warriors. Okay, they got Kuminga. All right. There's like 4 teams. The Mavs are another one of the teams. And I forgot who the 4th, the Cavs. So those are the 4 teams that I have on my radar if LeBron ever does request a trade. Because remember, he wants to go to a place where he can compete. Right? And then the Mavs wouldn't have to give up Kyrie, AD, or their first overall pick, but they do have other pieces, right? So it's interesting to me for now. I hope it doesn't get to that. Honestly, guys, I hope it doesn't get to that. That would be an ugly divorce. Best case scenario, LeBron plays out his final contracts and he rides off into the sunset. But reports are saying he wants to play more than 1 year, which goes against what the Lakers are trying to do. I think the Lakers want the cap space for 2027, right? Now, they could sign him for 1 more year after this, but who knows? Again, right now, everything is up in the air with LeBron James. I think LeBron is doing the same exact thing that Giannis is doing, trying to see what the Lakers do. Sitting back, seeing if he's going to be satisfied with the roster, and then we'll go from there. You know, if for whatever reason he's not satisfied with the roster, I could definitely see him requesting a trade and again controlling his destination. He has a no trade clause. He's going to control his destination, fam. He's going to decide where he wants to go. All right, but all I can say is that if I was LeBron James and I'm sitting back and I'm watching all these teams in the West get better, right? And I'm watching the Lakers potentially land DeAndre Ayton. Again, not official until it's official. And get Jake LaRavia. And who knows who else? Maybe Chris Paul. Who knows who else the Lakers land? What are we going to do? Like, you know, to compete against, I think it's Thunder number 1 in the West. Number 2's got to be Houston. We might have to flip those around depending on how the season starts. Too early to tell, but I'm talking about depth. The Rockets just look like one of the deepest teams. The Denver Nuggets have had a phenomenal offseason. They just added another piece in Jonas Valanciunas. Okay, so right off the top, this free agency, you're saying, where do we slot in the Lakers? 4th? 4th again? Are we going to be the 4th seed again? And then hopefully we don't struggle to get into the play-in because that would be worst case scenario. We're counting on Luka to carry us because LeBron's about to be, 49? Dude is getting old. We're going to need Luka to carry more of the heavy load throughout the season to keep LeBron healthy for the postseason, assuming LeBron stays the whole year. We're going to need the role players, guys like newly acquired DeAndre, assuming he gets here, to play to the best of his ability. I'm not talking 12 points and 5 rebounds. I'm going to need at least 8 rebounds per game from this guy. I'm going to need at least 15 points per game from this guy. I'm going to need at least a block and a half. He's going to have to be elevated, and I think he can be by playing alongside those 2 elite Hall of Famers, right? But let's see. I'll take a couple comments, questions, concerns before we keep breaking more news. Guys, this free agency has been nuts today. Absolute nuts. My guy said the farewell tour next year will be insufferable. Lakers could give you the best farewell tour, but you have to be fully bought in. Otherwise, the fans aren't going to fully buy it. If LeBron is 1 foot in and 1 foot out on the Lakers, the fans are going to want him out. That's just how it goes. I'll tell you one thing about us Laker fans. We don't like players when they're 1 foot in and 1 foot out. I will always love and respect LeBron James, but most of my fellow Laker fans will be like, get him out of there. You know, he opted in. He didn't take a pay cut. They're going to be mad. You know, especially if he's not fully happy. And we're hearing these rumors, you know, well into the season. You know, so that's the one thing. I wish this wouldn't have surfaced now so we could have had a good offseason with no excuses from Rob or anybody. That's what I wish. And if he didn't have a good offseason, then I would have loved it if Rob Pelinka got canned, for sure. Let's see. Dan, what is your worst case scenario? Worst case scenario, we miss out on DeAndre Ayton. We end up going with a no-name center to start again. Bobo. I mean, and don't get me wrong, I like Bobo as a prospect. Do not need him to start as my center, right? We end up going with some no-name center just like last year with Jackson Hayes. And then LeBron requests a trade and we get minimal in return. That is my doomsday scenario. Doomsday. Because we'll be desperate and just willing to offload him. I do not want that to happen. Best case scenario, we compete for a title this year. We keep our cap flexibility for the next 2 years, but while competing for a title, which is a lot to ask for. And we extend Luka, and then we let LeBron do whatever he wants in next free agency, which is if he wants to walk, great. If he wants to re-up, great. I'm for it. But I need a fully bought-in LeBron. I cannot. The thing is, what Rich Paul does, and I never liked Rich Paul being a mouthpiece for LeBron. I would like whatever came out to come from LeBron's mouth. I know that's his agent or whatever, and that's usually how players operate. But LeBron is such a star that I would love to hear it directly from him or him to tweet it out or something. Like the way it used to be back in the day when players would come out and say something when they were disgruntled. We got to hear everything to Rich Paul. So through those back channels of Rich Paul, it's easy for LeBron to backtrack and say, no, later on he can say, oh, I'm fully invested in the Lakers. Or later on he can say, yeah, the Lakers, unfortunately didn't build around me. I felt disrespected, so I wanted out. Like, it's easy for him to use Rich Paul as a mouthpiece and then change his stance at any point. And that's the only thing I don't like. But can you blame LeBron? I can't really blame LeBron for one reason. Rob Pelinka has been a turtle when it comes to building the right role players around AD and him, and now Luka in him. And so because Rob Pelinka has been an absolute turtle, and I'll give you my theory on why Rob Pelinka became like this, right? Because when he first came in, the first year that Magic Johnson quit, Rob Pelinka had a phenomenal offseason. 2020, haven't had one like that since. And the reason was because after we won that championship in 2020, we overcorrected and then eventually brought in Westbrook. We got swindled in the Westbrook trade. We gave up a first-round pick. We gave up KCP. We gave up Kuzma. None of those pieces were worth what we gave up for Westbrook. None of those pieces were worth it. I'm sorry. All of those pieces were worth more than what we gave up for Westbrook. I said it wrong. My apologies. Since that trade, Rob Pelinka has been just basically gun shy. He hasn't been able to really, outside of the Luka trade and little things like that people claim fell on his lap, he hasn't really been out here gunslinging like a Wild Wild Western GM, like the Rockets GM or like the Thunder GM. He hasn't been out here. Let's be honest. So that's a great question, Tasia, but that's doomsday scenario for me. Lakers don't land Ayton. We end up with some sort of a goofy center again, just like Jackson Hayes last year, and then LeBron asks out, and we get minimal return. Jaden, I just got here. What happened? What's up, Jaden? Damian Lillard. For those of you that just entered the chat, make sure you hit the like button first of all. Let's get to 500 likes to stay on for a whole nother hour. I'm talking 2-hour live stream. The first thing that happened was Damian Lillard got waived and stretched over $22.5 million over the next 5 years, guys. All right, that is the biggest waiving in NBA history by far. Right? Now it makes me think Bradley Beal might be next. Right? Milwaukee turns around and signs Myles Turner, which is a shocker because I think all of us thought most likely he was going to re-up with the Pacers. If not, they would sign and trade him somewhere and get something in return. And now we're talking about the Lakers because there was a report out there that DeAndre Ayton was considering the Bucks. Listen, my source told me that was never true. I never reported that to you guys. Never. And this trade confirms that my source was correct. It was never true because they were focused on Myles Turner. Right? Agents have always been a mouthpiece. This isn't any different. It's only noticeable because it's LeBron. Exactly. But that's my point. You just made my point, D-Free. LeBron has so much power in this league that I would like to hear directly from him. I don't need to hear from his mouthpiece. You know what I mean? That's how much power LeBron has. LeBron has changed the landscape of the NBA. You made my point exactly. Thank you. He said, why does Rob get zero credit for Luka generational heist? He gets credit. I have always given him credit. That is a great trade, but you cannot. It's like trading for an engine and having no car. You need the wheels. You need, the frame of the car. You need everything to get from point A to point B. You don't just need the engine. Luka's the engine. All right. We still need the center. We still need a bench. You still need the pieces to win a championship around LeBron and Luka. You still need them, right? In 2020, when we traded for AD during that summer, Rob didn't just sit on his hands. Rob went out there, acquired Rondo, Dwight, all these pieces, and put them together, and we cooked. And that is why we won a championship, right? Rob has always gotten credit for that trade, for me at least. Casuals will say it fell on his lap, fine. You still need to be able to finesse, because from what I heard, Austin Reeves was included in the original package. You still need to be able to finesse to get that type of package off, okay? And although I'll say this, Nico Harris does not look like the brightest guy out there, Rob still had to sit down for about a month, is what was reported, before the trade even happened. Keep everything quiet and be able to finesse his good friend or former friend, I don't know if they're still friends after this trade, Nico Harris, right? So I do give him credit, but it's not enough. And the good words of the GOAT, Kendrick Lamar, is not enough. It's not enough. Go give me more. We need more, guys. We need championship contending more. Keith says, Malcolm Brogdon, DA and AH acquisitions. Would you grade the offseason in A? Yes. That's much better. That's much better for sure. We only have, I think, about 2 or 3 more open roster slots, so we got to be very mindful of who we get. DeAndre Ayton will be one of them, most likely. So then it becomes, who is the final piece, right? And also, do we leave an open roster spot just in case one of these two-way G League players, plays out of his mind, just like Austin Reeves did? Because we got some good two-way G League players, which we're going to get into during Summer League. So keep it locked right here. But, it really matters. Obviously, DeAndre Ayton will go a long way. I think we land DeAndre Ayton just with him and Jake LaRavia. I already got to give this offseason a B. It's not going to get an A unless we get another quality piece. I'm talking Horford. I'm talking something like Malcolm Brogdon, somebody who can come in and make a huge difference. Because Jake LaRavia is a prospect. He's only 23. Let's not get it twisted, right? So I can't get too excited about a prospect, especially knowing that JJ Redick may or may not play you, just like Dalton Connect. Now, if that prospect ends up being a two-way, then I'll be really excited for a 6'8", two-way shooting slash small forward, right? So, again, it really matters. Great questions today, by the way. Pelinka is still sitting on his ass. Bro, here's the thing. We might have to make the DeAndre move before we make the next move. So that comes tomorrow. We might catch wind of it today. We might hear, that they're going to do it tomorrow. But I think that needs to be the first chip that falls. Once that falls, I think we'll hear about the rest of the stuff. So I'm being very patient, but my patience will wear thin if come tomorrow we don't land DeAndre Ayton. But I'm 90% sure, based on my source and what I heard, that Ayton will be a Laker. 90% sure, but that's never 100 until it's official. What if Golden State comes in and swoops in at the end? Or what if somebody else comes in and swoops in? I don't know why. It'll be a huge mistake for DeAndre Ayton to take his career to Steph Curry over Luka, who you can really look good and cook with for the next 5 to 7 years if everything goes good, right? I don't know. That's just me. I like to look down, I like to look forward and not just in the moment. Let's see. Apparently, the Suns can't waive Beal due to having over $4 million already stretched on their payroll. Well, I guess he's going to sit there and rot, unfortunately for him. I guess, right? We'll see what happens. It's always, I don't have help. Kobe rolling over in his grave. Well, first of all, let's leave Kobe's name out of this, man. Let's let that man rest in peace. That's number one. Number two, it's the NBA. Let's not sit here and act like Kevin Durant isn't forming his own super team over there with the Houston Rockets. Let's not sit here and act like the Thunder didn't just win the championship and they have draft picks in the lottery. Not in the lottery, but I think it was a top 15 pick they had this year. Plus, Nikolai Topic is coming back next year. Let's not sit here and act like teams aren't loading up. It's just the way the modern NBA works, man. You can never have enough help. You always need to go out and get more. But I do agree with you in one thing. I wish they left that to the front office. I do believe that players nowadays have too much control. But it is what it is. I mean, it's a modern NBA. Nico is funny because he made nothing but great moves as a GM except for one. That is, I'm telling you, man. Nico Harris is, I believe he's just, sometimes I look at the guy and I feel sorry for him because I feel like he's just the scapegoat of the Dallas Mavericks. I think their ownership group is the biggest to blame for everything because at the end of the day, they have to approve the trades and stuff, right? Nico might pitch the idea, but let's be honest. I believe he's a scapegoat, right? Let's see. Richard says you cannot win paying a 41-year-old over 1/3 of your cap. Well, let's not sit here and act like Richard, like that 41-year-old didn't just average 25 points per game, right? That's max salary money. There's not 20 players in this league that average 25 points a game. I don't even know if there's 15. I'd have to go check. But I'm telling you right now, he averaged 25 and 7 and 8 rebounds at 41. I don't think the same rules apply to him that apply to other people. And again, I'm not a LeBron fanboy. I'm a Laker fanboy. All right. But I like to defend was right. Let's keep it stacked. We're sitting here making statements like that, acting like, hey, like LeBron James averages 8 points a game. Then I would agree with your statement. Right? But if you're getting paid that much money and you're producing, you don't get a peep out of me. You don't get a peep out of me. Right? At least that's how I feel. That's how I feel. But again, other teams are having great off seasons. I think the biggest winner so far has got to be the Houston Rockets. The Atlanta Hawks have had a tremendous off season so far. The Knicks quietly have had a good off season because they blasted their bench. Last year they struggled when they went to their bench. When they had Ratatouille over there, they struggled. Now they got Yabusele and they got Jordan Clarkson, 2 certified bucket getters off the bench to spell some minutes, right? And of course, the Bucks, believe it or not, they got a little bit better. Just a little bit. Just a little bit better. Not a lot, but a little bit. But here's the thing now. If I'm Giannis, I'm sitting there looking like, yo, there's no loyalty. I thought there was loyalty here. We traded for Dame. He gets hurt. We cut him. Do I really want to be loyal to this franchise moving forward? I don't know. And let's be honest. Myles Turner is not going to be enough to push the needle. The Orlando Magic got better. The Knicks just got better. The Hawks got better. You know, teams are seizing the opportunity in the East due to the injuries that have happened during this playoff run, right? The Bucks got a little bit better. I will take Myles Turner over Brook Lopez, especially at this point of their careers. But how much better did they get? Let's be honest. Not a lot. Not a lot better. So, again, eyes out for Giannis. There's going to be tons of trade rumors, right? And I think inadvertently, the Bucks have just put themselves in position, right? But also, we can't be looking at other people's plates here because I think there's a chance that LeBron might request a trade, depending on how the rest of this offseason goes. But if he sees nothing but 2-year deals being thrown out there, he might. And it might not happen right away. It might happen at the trade deadline when everybody's desperate and everybody's out here looking for, desperation options because their season didn't start off as good as they thought it would. From the reports I heard from Chris Haynes and everybody, teams were not prepared to trade for LeBron right now. But that could change during the regular season, like sometime in December, after December, right before the trade deadline. That could change. He said, I actually think Dallas would be a problem if it weren't for all the injuries. Well, for me, for Dallas, there's still a lot of question marks. We still haven't seen what AD and Kyrie can do, and then Kyrie's coming off of a major injury. How good is he going to be when he comes back? And then we don't know what the rookie will become under 2 great players. Rookie might be great and be able to flourish even more if he was on a losing team and he was the primary target. But he might take a little longer. He might become somewhat of a role player playing behind AD and eventually Kyrie, if we're being honest. So there's too many question marks for me to say they're going to be good. I like their team on paper for sure. On paper, I like their team. I do. D Free says, Richard, that 41-year-old is still playing like a max player, 25, 8, and 8. All NBA second team, top 6 MVP candidate. What in the world is not a max salary player? He's an exception, not the rule. Exactly. And me and D Free don't always agree, but we definitely agree on that one. We definitely agree on that one. Randolph, what's up, my guy? He said, who do you want to give up for Braun? Nico Harrison? I'll be honest with you. We're not going to get a lot from Dallas because of the deal we already got with, because of the main deal we already got with for Luka. I do think you can get PJ Washington thrown in there. I think you can get Derek Lively. That's the main piece. I think you can get Derek Lively, PJ Washington, and some fillers. You know, I don't think you get a first-round pick for an expiring contract in LeBron. Maybe you do because he's an amazing player. But I think that's what around the package will be built around that. You need to get that big man. They have plenty anyways. They got Gafford. Go get me Derek Lively. You cannot leave them Derek Lively, that's for sure. They would make off like bandits if they can keep Derek Lively with the first overall pick, with LeBron, with AD and Kyrie. You know, they got to lose something. They don't have to lose the best, but they got to lose the third or fourth best, which is Derek Lively. Right? That has to be the main piece you get. PJ Washington would just be thrown in there for fillers, but I actually like PJ Washington. So reports are Giannis recruited Turner. Seems that Hayes was doing his buddy Dame a favor with that report. You think so? Maybe. There's going to be conflicting reports. If that's the case, then Giannis is more of a snake than we thought. Right? We'll see. And I love Giannis, but I hope that's not the case. I hope he wasn't recruiting while pretending to be fake mad about Damian Lillard. Again, there's always a lot of conflicting reports around this time of the year. Got to take every single one of them with a grain of salt. Bottom line is this. Free agency is here, ladies and gentlemen, and the Lakers are yet to make their big splash, which is likely going to be DeAndre Ayton. But what happens after that? Who else would you guys like to see? You know, besides DeAndre Ayton. I want names, chat. Who would you guys like to see? Would you guys like a veteran like CP3 off the bench? Would you guys like somebody like Lonnie Walker who could be a bucket getter for us off the bench? Would you guys like Malcolm Brogdon, who's been injury plagued the last couple of years, but can be decent off the bench for sure if he stays healthy? Who do you guys want? We know Ayton is already a shoo-in, but outside of him, who else? Does the counter argument is being a role player is great for Cooper? Yeah, he'd have better numbers as a top option, but he is learning from the champions and will learn the great habits as opposed to the bad ones. For sure. I think it's a good thing for him in the long run, but to expect him to be a title contender right away, I think they'll be interesting. If Kyrie comes back healthy, if AD can stay healthy, if the rookie can flourish under all those circumstances, there's a lot of ifs for me to really pencil them in as contenders. You know, that's the only thing I was saying. I can't put them up there. I got to see the product on the floor first before I become a buyer, right? As far as, penciling them in as contenders. Apollo, I'd love to get Kessler. Problem is Danny Ainge hasn't budged for the last 2 years, and the Lakers have to pivot in a different direction if nothing can be done. But yes, Kessler would have still been my first option, even over DeAndre Ayton. Of course. But you got to get it where you can fit it, man. Damian Lillard, I mean, I hadn't even thought of him. But Damian Lillard and Luka in the backcourt is nasty work, meaning defensively we're going to get cooked. Would Dame want to come off the bench? I doubt it, maybe, if he needs to be worked in slowly after his injury. I definitely take a flyer on Dame. You can never turn that down. Never. But not a necessity we have right now. Coming off of a major injury, we don't know what he'll be after that. He might just be a shell of himself. Damian Lillard might become what Darren Williams was for the Brooklyn Nets, right? Do you guys remember when the Brooklyn Nets acquired Darren Williams from the Utah Jazz, and everybody thought, oh, man, what a great acquisition. And then he goes there, injury-plagued, and Jordan Farmer ends up winning the starting role, and he ends up looking better than Darren Williams. Man, that was crazy. So I hope that doesn't happen to Dame. I hope he still has a good career towards the end. But it's just, to have injuries like that towards the back end of your career is really, really tough. And I wouldn't hold my breath for Damian Lillard as far as him being super productive anymore, right? But let's see here. Let's see if we can. Again, let's go back to the Nuggets because the Nuggets trading for Jonas Valanciunas and sending out Dario Saric to the Kings. They have a lot of depth, guys. The Nuggets, you have to pencil them in as a top 4 team in the West. at least to start the season. We don't know what it will look like when but on paper it looks really great. I'll say that. On paper, guys, it looks amazing on paper. I'll say that. Denver Nuggets just became scary. They get Bruce Brown. They traded for Cam Johnson from the Brooklyn Nets. And now you get Jonas Valanciunas. They're having a great offseason. And I hope that the Lakers can follow suit after we land DeAndre Ayton tomorrow, officially, once he clears waivers. I hope that we can then proceed and either make a deal, offload dead weight, guys like Gabe Vincent. If we can offload guys like that, that'd be great, and get some actual productive guys coming back. Here's a name that has surfaced that the Kings might be interested in trading, especially after acquiring Dennis Schroeder, and that is Malik Monk. There's a guard for us to get off the bench that could be a six-man candidate. Go give me Malik Monk. But everything after Ayton, everything we do has to be after we acquire DeAndre. D-Free says, I think Dame will be fine. His shooting is generational. That should age great, but he had already lost a step in his injury. On a mid-30s, small guard isn't great, but I expect him to still be a bucket. But can he be an efficient bucket? We know he can get buckets. So is it going to take him 20 shots to get 30 points, right? Is it going to take him, 20 shots to get 25 shots to get 35 points? He needs to be an efficient bucket if he wants to, really make an impact on a contending team, right? All right, Daryl Jackson says, acquire Ayton, then trade him for Giannis for Ayton, Rui, and Reeves. That's not going to happen. It's not enough of a package. If Giannis does become available via trade, you have to expect all other 2019s are going to go fully in. I don't think we're going to have another situation where we trade quietly behind the scenes for minimal. They don't want tons of draft picks, too, because you have to remember Milwaukee is a place nobody wants to go as a free agent. So you have to make a killing in the draft in Milwaukee, okay? Especially after what they did to Damian Lillard. It's going to be really tough to recruit free agents there, right? Well, nothing is certain, BJ. Nothing is certain until it happens. But my sources yesterday confirmed that, yes, most likely DeAndre Ayton. If I had to put a percentage on it based on what I'm hearing, I say 90% chance DeAndre Ayton is a Laker. 90%. It's never 100 till it's pen to paper and we ink the contract and he's doing the interviews and all of that. But 90% sure. I'm actually not worried. I wasn't worried when the rumor came up about the Milwaukee Bucks being a suitor because first and foremost, DeAndre Ayton, right, doesn't want to play for Milwaukee, and they're not a contender. He always wanted to play for a contender. Okay, even now, I don't have the Milwaukee Bucks as a contender. Even after the Myles Turner acquisition. Sorry, don't have them. The Lakers, you get DeAndre Ayton. Austin comes back healthy. LeBron comes back with 2 feet in, ready to compete. Luka getting in shape. Much better chance of contending than Milwaukee, right? Although the West is tough. I will say that. Thing about Ayton is he gave up $10 million, but we only have 8 to give after the LaRavia. Curious about that. Well, you know what? I am curious about that too. Maybe he took the $8 million. That's too less. But again, we got a billionaire owner. You don't think there's under the table payments happening, fam? This is where you get to you get to flex your richness right here. There's always under the table stuff. There's always stuff LeBron can do to get this man more money. There's always things, our new owner, Mark Walter, can do to get this man more money. He's like, yeah, we got $8 million, but check this out. I'm going to put you into the stock market. I got you with some stocks here and there. Don't worry about it. That's the benefits of having a rich owner, fam. Those are the benefits for sure. Let's see. Ange says, I like Gary Payton II, Larry Nance Jr. I love him, by the way. Tim Hardaway Jr., Amir Coffey, Brogdon, love him. Mo Wagner, like him. Dante Exum, love him. Javonte Green, Torrey Craig, and Horford. So from your list, this is how I rank them in priority. Assuming we already got Ayton, Al Horford as a backup big. Priority number 1. All right, priority number 2, Larry Nance Jr. If you can't get Al Horford, Larry Nance, a good, hard-nosed player. I think he could be a great player and a championship contender one day. Number 3, I'm gonna go Brogdon. I'm gonna go for highest potential on the team to make an impact. Brogdon. Number 4, I'll go Dante Exum. I like what he did for the Mavs when he was healthy last year. Very solid. That game when he had a career high 7 or 8 3-pointers against us comes to mind. But yeah, I like Dante Exum. I always have liked him. And number 4, I'll go Mo Wagner. and then Javonte Green, Torrey Craig, and Tim Hardaway and Amir Coffey at the end. I do not want nobody named Coffey, former Clipper. I'm good off of him, but good player, decent player. But I'll put him at the bottom of my pecking order. But I like your list, Angie. I like your list. Efficiency has scaled as the NBA now values points per shot attempt, but for things like field goal percentage, and that favors three-point shooting, spammers like Dame, but I get your point for sure. Yeah, the thing about it, I would definitely take a flyer on Dame, of course, if you can get him for the veterans minimum or whatever, since he got bought out. Yes, you'd have to be crazy to say no, but he's always wanted to go to Miami, right? I don't want a player that doesn't want us as his first option. He's always wanted to go to Miami. I wish Dame the best, and I hope he has a great end of his career. I don't have high hopes for him anymore, right? He was, like you said, he was already slowing down, and but I root for him on the side whenever he's not playing the Lakers, of course. I like Damian Lillard, always have. Let's see, $52 million we're giving him. We could use to build around Luka and pieces we already have. Well, first of all, young Melo. The $52 million that we're giving him is a lot, but he's still giving us the production. As far as building around Luka, that's going to come. I do believe this is LeBron's final year as a Laker, period. I think he opted in to retain the control over where he goes if he does get traded or if he doesn't want to leave at some point midway through the season. He has that no trade clause, so he's going to have full control. That's why he probably opted in. But $52 million sounds like a lot until you see Jimmy Butler's contract. This man, $61 million a year, fam. Now that is a wholly overpaid. Did y'all see what he did in the playoffs? Nothing. When Steph Curry went down, that's why they traded for Jimmy Butler. The man did nothing. All right. So they got Jimmy Butler at the end of his prime, and they're paying him $61 million. Now that's a lot. You want to complain about a contract? Look no further than the Golden State Warriors, who overpaid because they were desperate. Right, with that extension right there. Right. So yeah, let's see. Well, guess what? We ain't getting anyone from that shit. Who we talking about? What we talking about, Apollo? I have no idea who you're talking about. We need more clarification there. I still really like Melton, especially if we move Gabe. Yeah, if we move Gabe, I'm good with that. I don't want a 6'3" circus, 6'3" and under circus. I'm good off of the little people. We need some big guards out here. Now, the good thing about Melton is that he is literally the definition of 3 and D. So yeah, rumor has it the Lakers were interested in him. To answer your question, John, the Lakers were interested in Milton, but this all happened before the Ayton stuff. Okay, so let's see how they distribute the money. Now, he's not bad. Him off the bench to back up Ayton wouldn't be bad at all, right? He would not be bad. Let's see. Guys, chill. It's only day 2 of free agency. Oh, I'm really chill. And if we get DeAndre Ayton, I'm going to be even more chill because that means that we already are having a decent offseason, right? Decent offseason. First time people need to understand that is that Dame was stretched over 5 years, so Dame is going to want more than the minimum to offset what he is getting per year. Yeah, I mean, I'm not holding my breath for Damian Lillard. I haven't even mentioned him personally, Angie. I do believe he wants to be in Miami. I do believe if the Lakers wanted Damian Lillard, however, and Lillard wanted the Lakers, then they would make a trade to clear up more cap space to get Lillard. I'm sure they would. All right, let's see what we got. There you go. All right. Breaking news, free agent forward/center Sandro. I struggle with these foreign last names. Mamukelvi, I think, from the Spurs, all right, has agreed to a 2-year, $5.5 million deal with the Toronto Raptors. So the Toronto Raptors signing a big man before the Lakers. The irony there. So yeah, Raptors. All right, so not bad. Free agent Sandro. I'm gonna call him Sandro because his last name is impossible. His last name is Mission Impossible. Chat. Just signed with them. All right. Now we're also hearing a report that Damian Lillard is elated that the Bucks released him, allowing him to choose a contender of his choice without sacrificing money. There it is for the Damian Lillard rumors. who does he consider a contender? Right? That's exactly why I didn't want Jimmy on the Lakers. Yeah, Jimmy Butler was a wholly overpay. And they were desperate, right? They were desperate to just get something because they were not even going to make the playoffs. And they wanted to keep Steph Curry happy. That's the problem when you have an aging superstar, is that your production is no longer going to be the same, even though Curry's still putting up superstar numbers. He's eventually going to decline. And then you're forced with a decision. You either hope that he wants to ride off into the sunset and have a farewell tour and be happy with that, like Kobe did at the end of his career, or if he still wants to compete, now you got to jeopardize the future. The Warriors already did that time and time again. They traded all of their young core to make Curry and Draymond and those boys happy. And now you got Curry towards the tail end of his career. You had to go. Well, they felt, I don't think they had to, but they felt they had to go and make him happy and get Jimmy Butler. It made him happy momentarily. I think the disaster year is coming up this year for them, because now you got no wiggle room. You're probably going to lose Kuminga for little to nothing. You're not going to get much better unless you get Horford. You get Horford, then you get a little bit better. And, you know, Curry getting a year older and more expensive for the Warriors. So I thought they should have traded him when they had a chance and capitalized on, cashed in on his trade value. But, you know, it's Steph Curry. It's hard to trade a Steph Curry, right? Appreciate you, Kimmy Goat. Yes, this video is brought to you and sponsored by Underdog and Prize Picks. Promo code DTLF for both. Take advantage of these promotions now while they're still here, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate you, Kimmy Goat, for posting the link and all that good stuff. You know, all NBA players, superstars are making 50 to 70 million. It just is what it is. Everyone is mad because he's 40, but he's still producing. This isn't Vince Carter at 40. I'm trying to tell him. Thank you for that. I'm trying to tell him, bro. Now, would I have preferred for him to take a pay cut? Of course. Of course. To give us flexibility? Of course. But do we even know if Rob Pelinka knows what to do with that pay cut? Remember, last offseason, LeBron was willing to take a pay cut. He ended up just taking his full money because Robbie P couldn't even land nobody. Let's be honest. Yeah, it looks like he's out for Toronto. That's another good backup option for the Lakers. DeAndre Ayton and Boucher, and I'm happy with that. Yeah, that last name was rough. It's Ange. I was out here trying to scale the Mount Everest with that last name. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, that's embarrassing. But look, can you blame me? Can you blame me? It's just so hard to be patient being a Lakers fan, tired of Rob. Freddie, I feel you, brother. I feel you. I'm here for you, though, man. I'm here for you, chat. That's why y'all got to hit the like button and subscribe if you already haven't. Turn on them post noti bells. Because I got y'all with some real reports and rumors. Not this fake stuff that these other people be reporting on, these fake rumors that they be trying to hope that they land on. I report on what I know, fam. And also, my basketball opinions are very level-headed. I try not to let it get away from me. And sometimes I can go a little off the rails with the whole Clippers painting cocaine and stuff like that, but that's just me coping with the fact that the Lakers are yet to make a move. Mum Mu Kulosh V. Oh my goodness. Even that was a mouthful, sis. Oh my goodness. But I like the fact that y'all be trying to teach me how to say these last names. Yo, even that right there was a headache. Just you trying to break that down for me right there. Oh my God. Try saying that 2 times fast. My goodness, man. It's no wonder the Spurs didn't want to re-sign that man. It's no wonder. Well, but listen, when you're a great player, no matter what your name is, we'll learn the name. Just like Victor Wembanyama, right? That was a struggle to learn, but look at how great he is. We all know it. Victor Wembanyama. We know it. We learn it when it's worth the effort. When it's not worth the effort, we don't care. That's the truth, right? Yeah, so if he's a good player, we'll learn his name just like we did with Victor, just like we did with Giannis Antetokounmpo. By the way, my brother still can't say this. Shout out to my brother Eddie. He still can't say Giannis Antetokounmpo. From time to time, I want to have a good laugh. I asked him to say it for me, and it's really hilarious, man. Shout out to my bro. He's funny. Rob had no clue last year, even though the names were dudes not taking the MLE. I mean, Harden was a name, and he just got 40 mil, all NBA player. I'm saying, fam, I'm not too worried about the pay cuts and stuff because I think at the end of the day, the people that want LeBron gone, you're going to get your wish. But be careful what you wish for, right? I think we still have a good year with LeBron left, and we should make the most of it, and we should embrace it for the final year. That's just my thoughts. But, hey, I'm just Dan the Laker fan. I'm just DTLF, fam. What do I know, right? I think we should embrace greatness while we have it. I've always been of that mindset for sure. I like to embrace greatness as much as possible, and hopefully, it's a happy medium where we're competing and we're giving that that farewell tour for sure. Right? We want it all. We want it all, baby. Right? Ain't that right, Solo? I don't know, man. I try to be level-headed as a Laker fan. Yes, I can be very emotional. I am a fan just like you guys, but I try to be level-headed a little bit in some of these things just because we got a generational talent, guys. You know what the Knicks would do to have a player like LeBron just for 1 year? Did y'all see what they did when they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals? Now imagine if they just landed LeBron James. I'm just saying, one team's the trash is another team's treasure. Not meaning to call LeBron trash, but I'm saying if we don't cherish him and value him, another team will. As Sis says, it's the media antics that pisses me off. No, I get that completely. It does annoy me a little bit. Like I mentioned earlier in the show, I really don't like it when he goes into the whole speaking through Rich Paul or through code, like when he put the little apple with the Statue of Liberty, stuff like that. I know it drives us fans crazy because we like speak clearly. Like one thing I used to love about Kobe Bryant, I think we're so spoiled because we grew up on Kobe. When he wanted the Lakers to make a trade, he said, do something and do it now. He didn't go to his agent. He didn't drop a tweet, even though Twitter wasn't a thing really that popular back then. But he said, do something and do it now. And I think we can respect somebody wanting to embrace the villain role, right? As far as just be like, who cares what the media thinks about me? I don't care if they think I'm an asshole or whatever. I'm going to tell them what it is, right? I'm tired. My back hurts from caring. Do something and do it now, right? So that is the beautiful thing right there. And that's the only thing. I think we hold LeBron to an unfair standard because nobody's Kobe Bryant, right? Kobe Bryant is just his dedication to the game. And even little things that LeBron has said, like, it's just basketball at the end of the day. And then you hear the interviews, in time, in the history of Kobe saying he was going to work himself to exhaustion. It's two completely different players, so it's unfair to compare. But I respect them both. Obviously, my love for Kobe is through the roof compared to any other player in the NBA. But I still respect and admire LeBron's greatness. The great things I can say about LeBron James right here on the live stream right now is that he is always keeping his body in tip-top shape. So he cares about the game of basketball, even though sometimes he tries to underplay it. And I think with LeBron, what happens is he's not a good communicator. Meaning, he tries to say things like every legend should be valued, which I agree with. But at the same time, he diminishes even his own legacy, talking about ring culture and stuff like that. Right? So it's very intriguing to me. And I think sometimes it rubs people the wrong way. Again, we grew up on a different type of superstar, a killer type. So I appreciate LeBron for he is. I compare LeBron a lot more to Magic than I do to Jordan. I compared Kobe a lot more to Jordan than I do to Magic. So when I see both of these players, I respect them both for what they are, right? LeBron is the type that wants the world to love him. He just does. And sometimes, again, it gets the world to hate him, unfortunately, right? Kobe was the type that didn't give a flying you-know-what, right? And I think that's what we loved about him because a lot of the times we can all be like that, right? All right, let's see. Well, it's important to remember LeBron has also been criticized his whole career, holding teams, fees, and fired and controlling stuff. I know. But a lot of that criticism has been warranted. Not all of it, but some of it has. Same thing with the early career criticisms of Kobe Bryant, right? Some of them were warranted. Not everything. But we saw Kobe mature over the years and become just a phenomenal leader, a GOAT, really. We saw it. We saw it happen from Kobe, wanting all the glory to Kobe wanting to elevate his teammates while wanting the glory. It was a beautiful thing. The evolution of Kobe Bryant was, I think, why we all fell in love with him. But yes, we are spoiled. LeBron has a different outlook. That doesn't mean it doesn't work as hard as anybody else. You have to get to that level, but it looks at it differently. For sure. And like I said, I respect them both. Obviously, I love one way more, but I respect them both. Really, Kobe is the one that's weird. He's the one that looks at it differently because I don't know that MJ even looked at it that way. He does. Well, that's what we love about him. We love the different of the great Kobe Bryant, right? That's what we love. How different he was. The fact that he cared as much as the fans do, or more, way more, right? So we love that. We love somebody who throws themselves fully into their craft, and he proved that even after basketball, winning those awards, man. Beautiful. He said, I can't knock LeBron for taking the reins off his career. No, absolutely not. Can't knock LeBron. But again, I'm a happy medium, right? I'm not like, I'm in a happy medium place where, like, LeBron James, to me, admire everything he's done in his career. Everything. But I'm also not going to glaze him to the point of no return where, you know what I can't stand? When I go to social media and I see these fans slandering the entire Lakers organization, starting with Jeanie Buss. Now Jeanie sells the team. Now they're going to slander Rob. When Rob gets canned, they're going to slander somebody else. Player fans will never be happy. Never. No matter what you do. But all right, let's see what else is new on the rumor mill, guys. Let's move off the topic a little bit here. All right, Shams and Woj. I'm sorry, not Woj. I'm so used to saying Woj. Shams is quiet for now. Hopefully, we continue to get more news and reports because this has been very fun this offseason. I'm having a blast so far to start. This is one of the best ones that we have had in quite some time. Let's see here. Good question. Dan, what do you think of Angel Reese, brother, playing in the Summer League? I'm intrigued. I want to see more from him. I'm going to break down more of these guys. Right now, we're locked in on free agency, so I don't want to get too much into Summer League. But I can't wait to see these guys play. From our 36 overall pick all the way down to the two-way contracts to Bronny making a comeback, Bronny James. Let's see how he looks, how much more improved he is. I also want to look at everything. Angel Reese's brother. Shout out to Angel Reese, by the way. She's been cooking. She gets a lot of hate, too. A lot of this is unwarranted, right? So she's been cooking. She has been cooking. Lizzie Sharon says, LeBron is also hated for the wrong reasons, his politics. Get the fuck out of here, she says. He's allowed to be an American and care about issues. Facts. I agree with that. Shout out to LeBron for that. I like the fact that he is outspoken on his political views. To be real, Dan, I think my guy Rob has something up his sleeve, just like the Luka trade. It came out of nowhere, so I'm not worried. You know what? That's a good take. I'm not worried either. If tomorrow comes and we don't sign DeAndre Ayton, then I'm worried. But we already, let's be honest. Coming into the offseason, we did not have DeAndre Ayton at the top of our priority list. The fact that he even popped up, stuff was already in the works. The fact that DeAndre went to the front office and told him, asked for a buyout because he wanted to join a contender. He already had a team in mind. My source tells me that team has always been the Lakers, right? We got, I believe, false reports about the Milwaukee Bucks. It always feels like when the Lakers are involved in a rumor, they want to throw a wrench in there. They want to throw a sock in it by throwing another team's name just so we Laker fans can't be fully happy. But I'm here to tell y'all that DeAndre Ayton to the Lakers is all but done, right? And so after that, we already got Jake LaRavia. We get DeAndre Ayton. We still have tradable contracts. We still have flexibility. And we still have, I think, is it the mid-level or is it the veterans minimum? One of those two things to get another piece. If that ends up being Horford or it ends up being Malcolm Brogdon or some of the names that we have mentioned in the past, we're going to have a very good offseason. And I think a lot of Laker fans will be a lot happier. But I get it, guys. It's the traumas acting up right now because how many offseasons have we waited and got nothing in the offseason? I can count the last 3 for the Lakers, right? Absolutely. That's what sets him apart from the rest. Facts. You love to see it, man. You love to see it. Let's see. Appreciate you, Kimmy Goat. When does Summer League start? Well, the Las Vegas Summer League starts July 10th for our Lakers. We face off against the Dallas Mavericks. So the NBA knows what they're doing. Put in prime time against prime time, right? We get to see Cooper Flag first. The California Classic, I believe, July 5th. I will update you guys more. I will be going pregame and all of that when I have more information. But I believe the California Classic, if I'm not mistaken, is July 5th. All right, so we'll get a look at our young Lakers early, all right, and then over the next couple of days for sure. Let's see. What are you hoping for from Junior in the Summer League in terms of growth, development that he'll show? And does he have a chance of being in the rotation next year? We're talking about Bronny James. What I want to see from Bronny James is confidence, man. Look, We saw it with Max Christie. The year that he took the leap and actually eventually became a starter for the Lakers, which I predicted in Summer League. The year that he showed it was his second year of Summer League. And we saw the confidence in Max Christie where he looked like he didn't no longer belong. Now, obviously, Bronny James is a little more raw. He played for the most part in the G League last year. But I do want to see his confidence. I want to see him take the shots confidently. I want to see him attack because he has a nice little speed burst of aggression. He has an ability to get to the basket, and he's very, very athletic. So I want to see that. And his defense has always been there, so I want to see more of that. But most importantly, I just want to see the confidence in his growth, man. I want to see him be confident, go out there and act like he belongs. Don't be passive neither, because the last Summer League, he didn't even want to take a shot. He did not want to take a shot. Well, the thing with DeAndre is he shares the same agent as Luka. It's extremely easy to back channel and get the most from your guys on one team if you're an agent. LaRavia is an example too. Facts. Facts. Hey, Dan, could Ayton get to the Pacers? Is it possible because they lost Turner? It's possible. It's not likely. First of all, if you're DeAndre Ayton, you're at the point of your career where you need to prove yourself. LA has the brightest spotlight of them all. I don't know if you noticed, we have been a proving ground for all kinds of players. Some come in here like Malik Monk and make it happen and get a big payday, and some come in here and don't make it happen, and they end up being journeymen the rest of their careers. If you're willing to bet on yourself, and Luka Doncic is there as well, and LeBron, it's an easy decision. First, the Pacers don't even have Tyrese Halliburton this season. Who's going to feed you the rock? Would you get some touches? Sure. But you don't want to be in Indiana, man. LA, Indiana. Like, come on now. They made it to the finals. Congrats. They won't make it again. And I called it last year. I called it during the playoffs. I said, what's going to happen with Myles Turner? We don't know if they'll be back. They're not going to be back. Not after losing Myles Turner and Tyrese Halliburton. You're essentially losing two of your top three players right off the rip. Right? He said, end up gambling like Beasley. Man, I'm telling you, man. LA is where you come to either extend your career, but if you perform really bad, like Russell Westbrook, that could be detrimental as well. So I believe DeAndre Ayton wants to prove why he was the number one overall pick. He hasn't been able to do that throughout his career. Unfortunately for him, he has not, right? Also, the West is tough. I get that, but we'll see what happens. All right, let's get into some LeBron rumors. LeBron James rumors. Let's talk about that because we didn't talk about that last night enough, right? Until we get some breaking news. Make sure y'all hit the like button. We get to 500 likes, I stay on longer. We get to 750, we stay on longer. All right, so Brian Windhorst was reporting on LeBron James, and this is what he had to say. Brian Windhorst said, and I quote, "I don't mean to be controversial. It's just true." He says, "This is the beginning of the end with the Lakers for LeBron James." Brian Windhorst is hilarious because, first of all, he knew exactly what he was saying when he said, "I don't mean to be controversial." He knew it was going to stir up the pot a little bit. He knows what he's doing, fam. Is this LeBron James' last year with the Lakers? If I had to bet my career on it, I would say yes, it is. But there's still a chance that we can make it a good one, right? We have a phenomenal offseason starting with Ayton, and we add another piece, and maybe even eventually make a trade during the trade deadline. Get off some of the dead weight, like I mentioned, Gabe Vincent, who's been just an absolute terrible disappointment. I think the Lakers can contend for a championship, and if the Lakers do compete for a championship and we at least get to the finals, then there's a chance that LeBron will want to stick it out for the rest of his career. Anything short of that, then I think he walks as a free agent. I think there'll be plenty of suitors for him, even more suitors than the trade deadline for him and free agency, right? Now, if you're the Lakers, if you're a Laker fan, you're probably thinking, well, Dan, why don't we get ahead of the curve and just trade this guy now while we can get something for him and he won't be a distraction this year? Remember, he has a no trade clause. So the only way that he actually, gets away with this is if he requests a trade. And also, him requesting a trade doesn't necessarily make us look bad at this stage of his career. If he had requested a trade while we had AD or whatever, it would have been bad. But the Lakers can just chalk it up to, hey, he requested a trade. He didn't like new management. He didn't like the new direction we're going in. We wish him the best. We're grateful. And we can still end up looking classy out of this. However, I know the LeBron fans are not going to like this, but I do believe it is his last year. But I think we can do it in the right way, right? Which is competing for a title. If he does extend or he ends up re-upping with us, I would be shocked based on everything that we're hearing. You know, Rich Paul being the mouthpiece and saying what he's saying, I do believe LeBron wants out. Let's see. Indiana gave him a max contract a few years ago, and that's why he was in the deal he's coming off of because Phoenix matched it. So there was mutual interest at one point. It's over for LeBron going to the Bucks. Yeah, LeBron's not going to the Bucks. If you're LeBron James, why would you ever want to go to Milwaukee? Right? In the middle of nowhere. Listen, did y'all hear the story about the parade? About how boring it was to celebrate the championship from Jeff Teague, who was a part of the Milwaukee Bucks championship team? Nobody wants to go to Milwaukee. Let's be honest. The only reason Giannis is there this long is because they showed him loyalty first, and Giannis always been a loyal guy. They brought his whole family over, you know, when he was struggling to get them visas. They helped him through all that. So he'll never forget that. But he doesn't owe them his entire career either, right? But Milwaukee was loyal to him first, and that's why Giannis returned loyalty. But Giannis could have been a megastar. He could have went anywhere. He could have went to the Knicks. He could have came to the Lakers. He could have went anywhere, and his star would have shined even brighter, right? Myles wanted to stay, but since Tyrese is hurt, they're doing what they always do, which is duck the tax. Exactly, bro. Exactly. And that's the thing. When a front office is ducking the tax like that, it's sending the wrong message to me if I'm Tyrese Halliburton, right? I got to rehab by myself. I come back, no Myles Turner. I come back like Pascal Siakam is awesome, but they're still going to need some pieces there. You know, and we'll see what happens in 2 years from now when Halliburton is good. Let's see. My guy, Jay, says, new to the channel, digging the vibes. Appreciate you, bro. Now let's get Ayton because I can't handle this small ball lineup anymore. I feel that 110%. 110%. I'm so sick of small ball. I've been sick of it for years. So sick to the point where I can't wait till Curry retires because I felt like the league would shift back into intelligent basketball again. Forget about the analytics and the jacking up threes. All right, we're going to shift back into using the size in the playoffs. And it looks like we don't need Curry to retire because that's already happening. Look at the free agency. Even though the big man market was dry, there was a premium on big men. Like everybody was out here trying to get multiple big men. Even the Suns, even suck-ass teams like the Suns. So I think the league finally realized that only Golden State is good at running that small ball Curry stuff. And you need to have people that are good at moving screens and getting away with BS like Draymond to be able to run that garbage offense, okay? I think Steve Kerr was exposed when he coached Team USA several times to the fact that he's not even a great coach. This little scheme doesn't work with everybody, right? Teams gave us a run for our money on Team USA. I didn't like what Steve Kerr did with his rotations either. I don't like what Steve Kerr is doing now with the Golden State Warriors and what he's done with Kuminga and stunted his growth, right? So I'll tell you, man, I'm glad that the NBA is finally coming back to what it used to be, which is bullying, size, and physicality. We saw it in the playoffs this season, and I believe that is what we'll continue to see moving forward. Benaya, what's up, my girl? How you doing? Dan, the Nuggets are more of a contender than we are getting Cam Johnson, Bruce Brown, and adding a backup center in Jonas Valanciunas. For now, I give it to you, Benaya. We don't know how the Lakers are going to look at the end of this free agency. What if the Lakers sign Ayton, sign Brogdon, CP, or some veteran, and then turn around and make a trade to even help us even more? We still have assets, right? I think that's what's being lost in the sauce in all of this. We were desperate for a big man. Once we get that big man, I think teams will deal with us in better faith than before. I still don't think it's in good faith, but it'll be better knowing that we have our big man and we're no longer desperate. So maybe even Kessler, maybe even, I don't know, somebody else, a wing two-way defender, somebody, right? There's going to be options. Let's see here. That's two folded because there's still a chance this is the last season in the NBA. This is his last season? Oh, you think? Okay, so you think LeBron could retire after this year? From what I'm hearing, man, and what reports are saying, he wants to play multiple years. I think he wants to get his son Bryce in there, man. And his son is not draft eligible till next year. So I don't think this year he will retire. Spoiler alert, I don't think he would have announced it already. One thing we do know about LeBron, he loves attention, right? Did you guys not see that commercial where he was supposedly thinking about announcing retirement and ended up being like some sort of product placement commercial, right? So one thing we do know about LeBron James, he loves the attention. The moment that he's going to retire, we're all going to know it. He's going to say this is going to be my final year. He hasn't said that yet. So until he says that, I don't believe this is last year. I do believe this is last year as a Laker. I do believe new ownership and management is coming in, and they're going to take the reins and say, okay, this is our team now. We're building around Luka. LeBron, what do you want? You want to come back, take a pay cut? You don't want to come back? There's the door. I think it's going to happen like that. I do. Sounds vicious, and it sounds mean, but business is business sometimes. And, him becoming an unrestricted free agent for the first time in his career is going to be so interesting if he even does get to that point, assuming he doesn't get traded before. This is a great question right here. What are your thoughts on LeBron's comment about ring culture being overrated and then following it up with wanting to play for a championship to end his career? I think that has been one of the biggest criticisms of LeBron James. I feel like, and again, it's not me hating because I love LeBron James, especially after he came to the Lakers. I feel like LeBron James wants to be loved by everybody too much to a point where he ends up contradicting himself. I think the reason he made this argument, this is just my theory here. I'm just throwing it out there. The reason he made the argument about ring culture and all that, yes, it's to show love to ex-players like T-Mac who never won one, Charles Barkley, etc. But also because he wants to dispel the notion that Jordan is a GOAT over him because he has 6 rings, which is more than he has, right? Which is 4. He wants to kill that. He wants to be known as the overall GOAT. We know this. And so that's the way he tries to kill it. But then again, like you said, why would you be pursuing championships then if it's ring culture that bothers you? So it's counterproductive to him. One thing about LeBron James, he wants to be liked by everybody, but I think he should just keep it a stack. You either love rings or you don't. And, your words are saying one thing, but your actions are saying a different, right? Rings will always matter to the fans. Players want to create a new narrative that Gilbert Arenas and T-Mac are on the same level as Kobe Bryant. No. That is just not going to – we fans are not going to accept it. We fans, the ones that pay for the merch, that pay for the cable, that pay for the tickets, are not going to accept that fake-ass narrative that ring culture doesn't matter. Of course it does. It's all about ring culture. It's all about championships. That's what it's always been about. If not, why else would we watch? Why else would we tune in? To go watch Curry shoot half-court shots from the 3? Listen, if I want to watch a circus, I'm going to Las Vegas for Circus, all right? No, I want to watch champions. I want to watch blood, sweat, and tears. I want to see, you know what? I don't want to see injuries, but there was a beautiful thing that happened with Tyrese Halliburton is that he let it all on the line. He became a warrior. He earned the world's respect on the biggest stage, which is the NBA Finals, by playing through the injury. He knew what the risk was, and he played through it. Don't tell me rings don't matter, because that right there showed me that man, and in his heart, is a champion. He will potentially be a champion one day. Maybe not. We'll see. But he's a winner in the sense that he gave it his all for that championship and for his team. Whatever Gilbert Arenas says, as far as I don't really listen to his podcast like that, but I've seen snippets and clips, right? The fact that they said that, what really pissed me off is when he said Kobe Bryant was seen as a Scottie Pippen. Never was Kobe Bryant seen as the next Scottie Pippen. And he knows he's full of it. And I think he apologized for that cap-ass statement afterwards. But people will just say anything for hot takes. It's insane. League has shifted to positionless because of the Heat. Bosh wasn't a center. LeBron also plays small ball center for them too. Yeah, but this is not why the league has shifted into small ball. The league started shifting into small ball, D-Free, after the Warriors won 3 championships with Curry, with Draymond playing center. That's the reason why. And then pushing the pace and just jacking up threes and floor spacing. That's why. The floor spacing for the Heat wasn't what it is now for modern teams. So it wasn't the Heat. I know you want to give LeBron credit there, but it wasn't the Heat that shifted the league. Although that's what shifted the league as far as super teams and everybody trying to build super teams, but not as far as the small ball. The small ball BS. You have to remember that Mike D'Antoni kept a very competitive Phoenix Suns team in 06, 07, and beyond, right? Until they weren't competitive. Had Mike D'Antoni won championships, they would have been the first ones to shift the league into small ball crap. They didn't win championships, so the league ignored it. It wasn't until the Warriors with Curry started winning championships, going small. Yeah, first they had bigs like Andrew Bogut and this, and that, but then eventually they would have those bigs as a backup, not as a starting in the forefront, right? Draymond was their starting big, and they were going small, and they were able to get away with it because they had all these moving screens and Curry shooting lights out and Klay Thompson shooting lights out. Insane, right? Absolutely insane. But all right, let's see. Let's refresh the timeline. See if we got any more news. This is a free agent video after all. We definitely got a little bit off topic. But I got the top remaining free agents, starting with obviously Damian Lillard. Right? You got Josh Giddey. You got Chris Paul, Malcolm Brogdon, Russell Westbrook, Spencer Dinwiddie, and Ben Simmons, who they got listed at point guard. Okay? Those are your top point guards, free agents left, right? Shooting guards, right? You got Quentin Grimes, Tim Hardaway Jr., Dante Exum. Those are your top shooting guards still left, right? Small forwards, Amir Coffey, Caleb Martin, Torrey Craig. Power forwards, Jonathan Kuminga, although he's restricted. You got Jonathan Kuminga. You got Chris Boucher, Larry Nance Jr., and Trey Lyles. And then, of course, centers, DeAndre Ayton, who should be off this list because we're going to get him. Al Horford, Mo Wagner, Thomas Bryant, and Bobo. All right. Those are your top remaining free agents right now. It's not the greatest list ever, but there's still some value to be had there. There's still some value to be had there for sure. Let's see. My guy said ring culture, comment out of context. If you didn't watch the show and the question he was asked, he also said rings matter a ton. He didn't argue they're not why you play. It's not even that. It's not this specific comment, D-Free. It's everything. It's when he said it's just basketball after they got eliminated from the playoffs. It's all of that. You know, all of that it seems to want to downplay it when you lose, but upplay it when you win. I think that's the problem some fans have with King James, right? I personally don't care because I know LeBron James is the type that wants to be loved by everybody. And usually people that want to be loved by everybody, they're going to get caught up slipping from time to time because you care too much about what people think. So you're going to end up slipping. You might change your opinion here. You might change your opinion there. But, yeah. Let's see. I would try to make a trade for the Golden State Warriors for Jonathan Kuminga and a sign and trade. Send them Rui and Vando. I like Kuminga, extremely underdeveloped. I don't want to give up somebody who's a little bit further developed than Rui and an elite defender in Vando. I might consider one of the two. Don't want to give up both. I think that makes the Warriors a lot better, City Lights. And the last thing you want to do in the Western Conference is make a team you might face off against better. You don't want to do that. And I like Kuminga. Don't get me wrong. I really like Kuminga, but do I really want to make the Warriors better by giving them Vando? Can you imagine a defensive demon like that next to Jimmy Butler and Draymond? Now you got a problem. Rui over there, too, his ability to bully in the paint. With all that spacing they have, he's going to have more space to operate in the paint. I wouldn't like to see that either, right? So I think I'll pass on that one. I think I think I agree with my guy right here, Stormtrooper. Love the name, by the way. Let's see. Vando might improve his shooting now that he has a healthy offseason to work in his game. Man, I feel like we've been waiting for Vando to improve his jump shot for years now. I feel like we've been waiting way too long for Vando to improve his jump shot. And I'm losing faith, fam. I don't know if that'll ever come. I'd be satisfied with him just staying aggressive to keep the defense on their toes, because what happens is if you don't stay aggressive, now they can sag off you and it feels like you're playing 5-on-4, right? Whoa, okay, we got a nice little update here. Ooh, Carmelo Anthony out here shooting his shots. Carmelo Anthony apparently isn't happy with the way the Bucks treated Damian Lillard, y'all. All right, Carmelo Anthony just tweeted, no loyalty in sports, business per usual, shake my head about Damian Lillard. So, I mean, is he right? Yes, he's right. But let's be honest. Let's be honest, man. Players can just get up and leave whenever. Okay? I think it goes both ways. I didn't like the fact that they waived him either. I am happy for Dame because Dame never wanted to go there. Dame never ever wanted to go there. All right, so I am happy that Damian Lillard is about to dip, and let's see. Denver Nuggets, baby, what's up, fam? He said, "Sub DTLF, much respect, bro. Hopefully, you guys make some moves. Would love to see you guys in the playoffs. And the West is going to only get better. DeAndre Ayton to the Lakers, I'm hoping. Yeah, me too, man. Me too. I'm hoping so too, man. For just the NBA's sake, the NBA needs us in the playoffs. Ratings drop off a lot when we don't get further down the road in the playoffs. When we get eliminated in the first round, the ratings dropped a lot. They pick back up in the finals, but they do dip. The NBA needs us in the playoffs, man. I know I sound entitled as fuck right now, but it's the honest, man. The NBA is better when the Lakers are going further. I look forward to facing y'all, though. You guys, Denver Nuggets, baby, congrats, man. You guys made some good trades this offseason, and it's going to be intriguing for sure. He said, bruh, y'all taking what Gil said out of context. There were articles saying that Kobe to Shaq was Pippen to Jordan. He wasn't downplaying Kobe. He was telling Stephen A. they were downplaying. Well, here's the thing. It's irrelevant to bring those articles up because we know now after watching the entire Kobe career that he wasn't a Pippen. We know that. Let's be honest. We knew that already. There's no need to drag somebody's name through the mud, especially after they pass and they're not here to defend themselves. What happens is these clips go viral. And now you're subject to getting your stuff taken out of context. But that was still a stupid thing to say. He was being considered Pippen at that time. I saw it. I saw the podcast. At least for that one clip, it was about a 12-minute clip when they were arguing. And I'm not gonna lie, Meta World Peace disappointed me a little bit too because he kind of just went along with it. Especially you being a teammate of Kobe Bryant and him elevating you to championship status. It's like, come on, man. You would think you would fight tooth and nail to defend his honor and his name. But there's a lot of what really rubbed me the wrong way more than anything. It wasn't Gil. It wasn't none of this other stuff, although I didn't like what they said. It was Tracy McGrady who said if you just swapped him in for Kobe, he would have won championships too. No, you wouldn't have. Let's be quite frank. You had your opportunities. You had good teammates. You dealt with injuries. Your career, unfortunately, it wasn't what it could have been, but a lot of it's due to injuries. It's not due to you not having enough help. Let's not forget, like, they didn't blow a 3-1 lead to the Detroit Pistons in the East when he had a chance to go far over there. Let's not act like he didn't play alongside Yao Ming for years, right? Come on now. Let's be honest, man. And LeBron fans, I get it, man. Y'all definitely going to try to defend and stick up for what Gil said. But we're not with it, man. Laker fans not with it. We saw an entire career happen, and you cannot change the course of history. You cannot change how we look at this man. He is in the GOAT conversation, whether you like it or not. It's just a fact. Appreciate you, Kimmy Goat. Yo, T-Mac was a beast. He gets no slander from me. I didn't like what he said. I don't agree with what he said. I disagree heavily, but doesn't matter, man. He had opportunities. When he was in Orlando. He had opportunities. Doesn't matter. A lot of people didn't have prime Shaq, right? A lot of people didn't have prime Shaq. But let's not sit here and act like Kobe didn't elevate other teammates to championships as well. Let's not sit here and act like Kobe wasn't pulling his weight in those Shaq years. Kobe didn't win with Penny. So what's your argument there, right? If Kobe didn't win with Penny Hardaway, you cannot make an argument. I'm sorry. If Shaq didn't win with Penny Hardaway, you cannot make that argument. They were basically 1A and 1B on the Lakers. Here's the thing. If we saw those finals runs, a lot of the times, those playoff runs, a lot of the times, we don't even get to those finals without Kobe Bryant. He was putting up his own big numbers. I don't have the numbers here before me. He was putting up huge numbers in the playoffs. So this whole narrative was just listen, the whole Kobe couldn't win without Shaq narrative, they tried, and then Kobe won without Shaq, and then he silenced them. Now they're rehashing history again. For what? We could always make an argument that Jordan never won without Pippen. LeBron never won without a grade A star next to him. Kyrie, D Wade, Bosh, AD, now Luka. Like, you can make that argument about any superstar. I think it's really stupid when people bring those type of arguments up. What's up, Benaya? Hey, my family's doing good. How's your family doing? Hopefully you guys are all good as well. Just surviving the heat because, oh my goodness, this summer has Not only has the NBA kicked off with a bang, but the summer, man. Oh my goodness, it's so high. It's so hot. All right, breaking news: the Milwaukee Bucks are rescinding the qualifying offer for promising young guard Ryan Rollins. Sorry, and he will now become an unrestricted free agent. So again, to create the cap, they had to do a lot. Milwaukee Bucks starting lineup. How they looking? They got Gary Trent Jr., Kevin Porter Jr., Kyle Kuzma, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Myles Turner. How are we feeling about that starting line? Is that enough to compete in the East? We got to see. How are we feeling about this starting lineup right here, guys? What would you guys rate it? And do you put them over the Hawks? Do you put them over the Pacers? I do put them over the Pacers. Do you put them over the Knicks? I don't think it's enough to get you even to the Eastern Conference Finals. It might be, but 4 out of 10. Yeah, this lineup right here doesn't really put a fear into me, to be honest. I actually thought their lineup was a lot scarier when they had a healthy Damian Lillard, right? But we have to talk about the Damian Lillard-Giannis pairing. It didn't work out. It ended up being a dud, right? It's like who remembers the M80s on 4th of July, those biggest explosions. You guys remember lighting them up, and then they don't blow up, and then everybody's scared to go check on the firework because it didn't blow up. That's what the Milwaukee Bucks stint with Damian Lillard, unfortunately, was. It was a dud, right? It was a dud. D. Free says it's absolutely enough to compete in the East with two of other top teams dipping, but you will need Giannis to take it up a notch. But Turner was great in the regular season. It's an intriguing team. I still got the Knicks over them. I still got the Magic over them, who just improved by getting Desmond Bane. I'll put a couple teams over them. I don't think this is enough to keep Giannis happy in the future. I think for now, it keeps him content for now, maybe. But he said Kobe was huge in 2000 as well, especially Western Conference Final. Yeah, man. Let me tell you, revisionists of history are going to try to change what Kobe did. We're not going to let his legacy die, man. We're not going to let Gilbert Arenas, T-Mac, or anybody else talk down on one of the GOATs. What they've done is they've put a lot of guys around Giannis that fit exactly how he plays to give him as much space as possible. He's going to be a nightmare. It's a lot of pressure on Giannis, man. It's a lot of pressure on Giannis. I like Myles Turner, but Giannis now doesn't have a co-star. I feel like you need a co-star to win a championship. You don't have that. Myles Turner is a good third option at best. I mean, just look at him in Indiana. The reason they were so dangerous, they didn't really have to rely on Myles Turner, right? They had Pascal Siakam, you got Tyrese Halliburton, and you had a bunch of really great role players like Naismith and Nembhard who can definitely get you buckets in between. The team is good. If I had to grade their offseason, though, I'm going to say it's a C+, just because, yeah, you got a little bit better with Myles Turner, but over the years, they've lost tremendous pieces. They've lost Drew Holiday. They have lost Middleton, who, by the way, was injury-plagued, so I don't really count him. This team just isn't enough for me to put them back at the top, especially with the East getting a little bit better in spite of the injuries. Teams are making trades. You see what the Magic did. You see what the Hawks are doing. Teams are going to get good. And you give Trae Young a really good team. You see what happened last time they gave him a good team. He led them to the Eastern Conference Finals. So if I'm a Knicks fan right now, I'm shivering because they got killed by Halliburton last year. They might get killed by Trae Young next year. And it just seems like they cannot escape the fate of the guards over there in the Eastern Conference, man. So, again, free agency getting off to a bang. Can't wait for tomorrow, guys. I think tomorrow's going to be even bigger than today simply because the Lakers will make their moves likely starting tomorrow. Yeah, D-Free, man, it's hard. It feels like the blueprint in today NBA is you have to have a co-star and a bunch of depth. I don't think you need a super team. You don't need 3 or more stars, but a co-star for sure. I mean, just look at the Thunder, right? J-Dub was huge in that finals. J-Dub was huge. So Shea has his co-star there. And Chet even came up, even though he's a star within his role, he's not necessarily an all-star as far as numbers and scoring goes, but he had several games where he had 3 to 4 blocks. Chet was huge, right? But even the Thunder have a co-star with J-Dub, and he came up tremendously big for them in the finals, and that's one of the main reasons they won. Yes, Shea was spectacular, but so was J-Dub, and so was Chet. So you need to have at least 2 stars, in my opinion, to become a true contender. Lakers have that. Lakers have that. Now we're trying to work around the fringes. We're trying to add the big man, obviously, in the Ayton. We're trying to add the wing depth. We're trying to add so much, and we're trying to do it in a short span of time because summer league is around the corner, and then off season, then training camp, and all that good stuff. It's going to bunch up for us, so we got to make sure we get the team right. Pacers take us to 7 if it wasn't for Kobe. Talk to them. Hey, those of us that were there and witnessed it live is different than those that saw the highlights. So if you, I'm sorry, and I don't mean to sound rude here, but if you weren't there and witnessed it live, you don't hear me commenting on Jordan. I was too young for that. I didn't witness that live. That's why I never try to slander his legacy or anything he's done. But if you weren't there to watch Kobe Bryant live during his prime, during his youth, during his prime, and during the latter years of his career, that opinion should not be validated. I'm sorry. And even those that were watching him that are currently trying to diminish what he's done, those opinions aren't validated either. People forget Doc Rivers is still the head coach of the Bucks and Darvin Ham. By the way, I thought it was really funny that Taurean Prince re-upped with the Milwaukee Bucks. Man, Darvin Ham loves that man more than a son, I think. It's crazy. I think it's all about matchups, though, still. Matchups and all that and stats are all cute until, you run up into that powerhouse team. That powerhouse team will smack you in the mouth. Just like I predicted last year that the Knicks were going to be that powerhouse team, there's going to be a new rising team in the East. It's either going to be the Atlanta Hawks or it's going to be the Orlando Magic, right? There's going to be a new rising team in the East, and I don't think it's going to be the Bucks. The Bucks have kind of just been a fringe team, the entire time. So, Benaiah, this is a great question here because I don't think we have a clear-cut team in the East. Let me see. Let me pull them up. But off the top in the standings, all right, I'm going to have to say I actually believe that this is the year. And it's just me. I could be naive about it. But I believe this is the year that the Knicks will make it to the finals for multiple reasons. So I'm going to put them at number 1, assuming they stay healthy. Boston is hurt, and they traded away key role players. But most importantly, they're hurt. Cleveland has always been Cleveland. Great regular season team, not enough in the postseason. To me, they're the biggest threat to the Knicks as far as right now goes. The Pacers, obviously, we see what happened to Hallie Buckets. The Bucks, I'm sorry, I don't fear the deer right now based on how they're constructed. They're good. Don't fear the deer. Love Giannis, respect Giannis. Don't fear the deer. They were already the 5th seed last year. All right. The Pistons are going to get better. We saw what they did. They took the Knicks to 6 games. Shout out to the Pistons. The Magic got better. Right. And they didn't even have a fully healthy roster all season last year. They had lost 2 players to injury who came back late in their season. They got better. Paolo, Franz Wagner, now Desmond Bain. Right? So for me, if I had to rank those teams, I'm going Knicks 1. I'm actually going to shock some people here, and I'm going to put the Magic 2 over the Cavs. Yes, I believe in the Magic more than the Cavs now with the new roster. All right, so Knicks 1, Magic's 2. I'm going to go Cavs 3. I'm going to put the Cavs over the Bucks. Okay, Cavs 3. I'm going to go Pistons 4. They're going to get better. I'm going to go Pistons 4. And then I'm going to put the Bucks 5. That's my top 5 ranking right there to answer your question, Benaiah, in that order. And I had to look at the list just to make sure I wasn't missing anybody. Talk to them, fam. Hey, if you know, you know. If you know, you know. We got Warrior fans in here. You guys want LeBron James really bad on the Warriors? I mean, that would be a great fit. But here's the thing. What would the Lakers be willing to give back? Because in that case, if we got the final missing piece to you guys making the title run, we're going to want a little bit more. All right? You guys willing to give up Kuminga? Fine. How many picks you got? All right? What else to make the salaries work? What else you guys got? Right? Moses Moody. What else? Pods. You guys might have to mortgage your entire youth just to make that happen. Would you still be willing to do that? If so, all right. Let's see if we got any more updates on the free agent market. Let's see here. Yes, Toronto Raptors. Breaking news: Toronto Raptors. Jacob Pertl has agreed on a 4-year, $104 million extension with the franchise. My goodness, man. That's yeah. There you go. Jacob Pertl staying with the Raptors. There you have it. The latest free agent rumor and news. If you guys are just tuning in, make sure to hit that like button, man. Keep helping us keep going here on the stream past the 2-hour mark. If we get to 750 likes, I will stay on for another hour. Otherwise, I'll get off and then I'll come back if there's anything worth reporting for the Lakers or just anything, any major news like the news we got with Myles Turner today. I was gonna go live regardless. Yeah, he was too, Lewis. He was too, man. He's definitely my GOAT. Always will be. But it's sad to see that a lot of people don't see his greatness for what it was. They're always trying to relegate him to Robin. Never was a Robin. He was a Batman who had to break free from another Batman. Basically, that's all it was. You guys should now know it's time the Pacers injury. Cleveland is all hype, and Detroit and Orlando. Yeah, I think that it's the Knicks' time right now, and I actually think the Knicks got better with their 2 acquisitions. They were minor acquisitions, but they didn't really lose anybody major. They got Yabusele, who's a nice little bully in the paint, and somebody who can space the floor and stretch it. And you get a 6-man candidate in Jordan Clarkson. I think the Knicks are well off because of it. And I'm excited for the Knicks because they had a golden opportunity last year, and they came up short. And now the Pacers won't be a problem for them. That's one team less. I don't think the Celtics should be a problem for them either. The Cavs might be, the Cavs in the Orlando Magic might be the biggest threats to the Knicks right now. And maybe the Hawks. I think I forgot to include the Hawks in there in my top 5. I might actually put the Hawks over the Bucks. As crazy as that sounds, I might put them in my top 5. Let's see here. Chosen. What's your reaction if we don't do nothing? I'm pissed. I'm calling for Rob Pelinka's head on a platter if that happens. There's no excuses for the Lakers not to do anything. We have Luka Doncic and LeBron James. We have to do something. All right. Enough of the sitting around. Enough of the waiting for the right deal. Enough of all of that. I don't care if it's a 1-year, 2-year deal, 3-year deal. Just make it happen, Rob. Make it happen. That's it. Do your job. That's all we're asking. And I think he's under high scrutiny because there's new ownership coming in. The new ownership group will eventually take the reins. It might be as soon as December when they officially buy the team, right? He said the Knicks didn't need Yabusele. Anything you add to that bench, man, is going to help, man. Now, they're still looking for a head coach. That's my only concern for the Knicks. If they make the wrong coaching hire, I do believe Mike Brown would help them out. I think Mike Brown is a good, solid coach. I don't think he's better than Thibs, honestly, other than the fact that he's not going to run players into the ground. But I think Mike Brown is solid. I think he's solid. Should the Lakers talk to Lillard? Of course. If there's a chance to get a player like Damian Lillard, you have to do your due diligence. But I don't know. From what I'm hearing, he's always loved Miami. Unless he really wants to win a championship, then he'll come here to the Lakers. But outside of that, I don't know. I don't know who else could be an option for him. Golden State, he's from the Bay Area. I can see him being they try to accumulate all the shooters they can. I can see him trying to go to the Bay Area. I would hate it, but I can see it happening. And also they could rehab him, slowly bring him back in, and then just have him ready for the playoffs if possible. Hey, Dan, would you bring in Ben Simmons to give him a chance? That name intrigues me for one reason only. He plays good defense. But remember, we need two-way guys. We already drafted a young kid who struggles to shoot beyond the arc. I think the last thing we need is another I wouldn't mind him as a primary point guard off the bench, playmaking for everybody, but eventually he becomes unplayable because in the playoffs they're going to sag off of him and you're going to have a liability. We already have one of those with Vando who can't shoot. I don't think you can have too many of those guys on the roster. Now, if for some reason the Lakers were to trade Vando, then yes, I'd take a chance on Ben Simmons because he'll bring you a little bit of what Vando brings defensively with more playmaking and no shooting at all, which is what Vando brings. So we don't want too many of those players. It's a good question, though. It is a good question. Ben Simmons is still out there. I am curious to see what teams are going to take a swig at Ben Simmons. Does he still have a chance in his career? I don't know what happened to that kid, man. I remember that the first year or 2 years he was with Philly before the injuries, he was actually pretty damn good. I remember having arguments where I was making an argument that I felt that Brandon Ingram was going to be a better player, which I was right, by the way. Yet again, I felt Brandon Ingram was going to be the better player versus Ben Simmons, who wasn't a face-up guy. I said, for the modern NBA, BI is going to be he's going to be solid, right, in this league. Meanwhile, Ben Simmons has kind of taken a back end in his career. Although I will say, Brandon Ingram never became what I thought he would be, which is a Kevin Durant type, clutch player down the stretch, top 10 player in this league eventually. He also disappointed me, but not in the same level that Ben Simmons did, unfortunately. DJ Williams, man, we've been talking the same shit every offseason with the Lakers. The whole front office needs to shake up. New owners, new culture. You might get your wish, DJ Williams, and you're right. It's been like 2 to 3 off seasons that we have been very mid. Very mid. So I do agree with that. Ben Simmons to the South Bay Lakers. Would I trade for Obi Topping? Yes, we need more athleticism. This guy played out of his mind in the playoffs. If he ever hit the market, for sure, the Lakers should have to be interested. Another lob thread for Luka and LeBron. Why not? And he also plays solid defense. I like what I saw from Obi. I thought the Knicks were crazy to give up on him when, they did. Yep, sure enough. Really quick, I forgot to report, SGA signed a contract extension with the Oklahoma City Thunder. Guys, a Supermax contract extension. So congratulations to him. It's worth $285 million. Crazy, but well worth it. Well worth it. And, that 4-year deal is going to take them all the way into 2031. So, again, the Thunder are secure. They're going to be there. They're going to be a problem for years to come. We knew that. DJ says, once LeBron James retires, more talent will come. You can't ask one of the GOATs to play second option. That's like asking MJ to be the second option. Just let LeBron finish his tenure with us and then enjoy Luka. The thing is, we're not asking LeBron to be second option only because we don't like him or something, right? We're asking LeBron to be second option to prolong his career and to become a better team. We need Luka to be that first option by default. We need him. We need him to become that first option. Just like we were asking and begging Anthony Davis. And credit to Luka, he has worked on his body. And he has, upped his regimen in order to become a better player. So credit to Luka. But he needs to take the reins from LeBron. LeBron's not just going to hand off the keys. He needs to see that we're in good hands. And then he will do it because it'll prolong his career and it'll keep him fresh for the playoffs. What I said last year. D3 says, mental stuff. Ben was a top-tier defender, great playmaker, an all-star, etc. Remind me of Royce White. Oh, my God. Yes, I remember Royce White. Was going to be super good, but bro couldn't get on planes. That was crazy. I am devastated for Royce White's career. The fact that he couldn't get on airplanes and that ended his career right there, man. Good reference right there. Good reference point right there. The mental stuff is crazy. That once you get into the NBA, it should be all fun and games. Yeah, you got to work hard. You're living your dream, fam. Isaiah, thank you for asking, bro. I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Doing really good. Thank you for asking. Hopefully you're doing good as well, Isaiah. But he was indeed good for the Los Angeles Clippers last year. Just still refuses to shoot. Yeah, the sad part about that is, D3, nobody was watching because he played for the worst team in the history of the NBA. So even if he was good, the reason he's still a free agent, nobody was watching him over there, bro. That's basketball purgatory where careers go to die. If he would have came and had a good year with the Lakers, then I think he would have had a contract. Somebody would have re-upped him right now. But now his agent probably has to beg and plead, and they probably have to go back and look at film, and God knows what else they got to do for him to get a contract. Steve, what's up, Steve? He said, yes. He's screaming. He's screaming in all caps, y'all. Yes, I would get Ben Simmons on a 1 year. He's another ball handler and can't play 1 through 5, and he can't play lockdown D from Dame. I don't know why you're that excited for Ben Simmons, Steve, but I got you, man. I got you, bro. That's funny. Ben Simmons would be decent. It's not my priority. Definitely don't need another non-shooter on this roster, but he's decent. LeBron has been wanting to be on a second option, and he was the third option at times last year. He also was trying to hand the reins over to AD. Exactly. And that's one thing that I really love about LeBron is how unselfish he is. He is unselfish when it comes to on the court, for sure. Breaking: Lakers trade Pelinka for a bag of peanuts. DeAndre Ayton and Quentin Grimes. Quentin Grimes is, I think, a restricted free agent, if I'm not mistaken. I would love to have him. You saw what he did for Philly last year. But I just don't think that's a realistic option, man. I don't think Quentin Grimes is realistic unless they do some sort of a crazy sign and trade, right? But would I love him? Sure, man. Great. He also played with Luka. So there's some familiarity there, for sure. All right, guys, make sure you guys keep hitting that like button. Kimiko, where are we at? Where are we at on the likes? Let me know if you're in the chat still. Let me know how many likes we have, and we go from there. Did we, stretch it to a third hour? As he's sharing, what's up, my friend? How you doing? She says, people who hate on LeBron are delusional. Most people like him. The NBA likes him. Kobe liked him. Luka likes him. People wanted him to get treated like a bum. It's not going to happen, especially not by the Lakers. Especially not by the Lakers. You're absolutely 110% correct there, Sharon. Lakers are a class organization. We're not going to treat them like a bum. Now, might the Lakers decide to go a different route? Sure, but we'll do it in a classy way, and I'm sure they would trade him wherever he wanted to go if it ever came to that, right? 400 likes. Oh, come on, chat. We got 1,300 in here. Let's get us to at least 500, and I'll go an extra 30 minutes, all right? I'll go an extra 30 minutes just in case anything breaks. Otherwise, we'll get off, and then if anything breaks, I'll still come back later. Regardless, make sure you guys do hit the like button, subscribe if you already haven't, and turn on the post noti bells because Laker news is coming. The Lakers news is coming, chat. And I got you guys covered for Summer League, training camp, preseason, everything. The whole enchilada, 365 days a year. Your boy is here. Have no fear, Laker Nation. I got you guys covered from end to end. All right, let me know, Kimmy Goat, if we do get to that 500 likes so we go an extra 30 minutes. Otherwise, I'll take the final comments of this video and the final questions and all that good stuff. Let's see here. All of us are waiting while Rob is just at home sleeping. That is not true, my guy. Contrary to what Twitter will have you believe, the last time I seen Rob, he looked like he didn't get no sleep at all. Grimes wants $25 million. Now, he's definitely not worth all that for a one-year exhibition on a suck-ass team. Not worth all that. Are we getting a center? Absolutely, Manny. Question is when. Most likely tomorrow. And most likely it's going to be DeAndre Ayton. The real question I have for the Lakers is, are they getting two centers? We need two centers, not one. Two centers, right? So let's hope we have a backup center. We know DeAndre is probably in the bag, barring anything crazy from happening. But, yeah, we need two centers, not one. Two. Let me know, Kimmy Goat, if we do hit that 500 likes. We got 3 minutes. Hit the like button if you're out here. It only takes a second and helps us tremendously here on the channel for all the hard work me and Kimmy Goat do on here. And Tara and everybody who contributes, man. Appreciate it. You guys are much appreciated. Sharon says, yes, Dan, that's what I'm saying. The organization will work with him and send him to his choice. Absolutely. And we don't even know if that's actually going to happen. He could end up playing out his contract. You know, he could, if we win a championship this year, he will for sure re-up. But again, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. Ayton and Mo Wagner, wouldn't mind it. Not my favorite, but wouldn't mind it. Dan, what do you think the Lakers' plan is to wait for 2027? I think we want to have our cake and eat it too. Based on what I'm hearing and the reports and everything, I think the Lakers want to compete this year and next year to prove to Luka, obviously. And we want that long-term extension from Luka, which we most likely will get in August. And I think they're going to want to pursue free agents in 2027. Guys, I don't have the free agent list with me here, but let me see if I can pull it up because it's huge. And it's led by Giannis Antetokounmpo. All right, the 2027 free agent list. Here it is. Steph Curry McFlurry, who's going to be 39. Nobody cares. All right, at that age, we'll pass. Giannis Antetokounmpo, right? Giannis Antetokounmpo is the biggest name there. He will be 32 and a half, though. We do have to factor that. He's not LeBron James. Not everybody has the same longevity. So he'll probably have the next 3 to 4 years of prime basketball before he starts declining, if even that. Anthony Davis will once again become a free agent. He'll be 34 at that time. Jimmy Butler, 37.8, too old. Who cares? Move on. Nikola Jokic, oh, God, I could definitely see a scenario where the Lakers pursue him. Karl Anthony Towns at 31 at the time. Paul George, nobody cares, 37, too old. Move on. Bradley Beal, 34. Again, he's already washed. Donovan Mitchell, big name right there. Big name. Donovan Mitchell, 30 years of age, still in his prime. Big name. Him and Giannis will probably lead this list as far as age is concerned and talent level. Kawhi, 36, too old, nobody cares. Zach LaVine, 32 at the time, nobody. Luka, assuming he doesn't sign the extension. God, I hope he signs the extension because at 28, he will be the prime target. Trae Young will also be a free agent. Can we have a Trae Young-Luka pairing? I hope not because the defense will be horrendous. Okay, but Trae Young is a free agent. James Harden, 37, too old, nobody cares. You move on. Brandon Ingram, a name of intrigue. He'll be 29, still in his prime. All right, interesting name for sure for the Lakers. Michael Porter Jr., Kyrie Irving at 35, Rudy Gobert at 35. Again, older players. And then Jalen Green from currently from the Phoenix Suns, right? Drew Holiday at 37. So again, the list goes on and on. This is one of the deepest free agencies of all time, and that is assuming a lot of those players do not sign a contract extension before that time ends, right? That is so. That 2-year timeline, I think the Lakers shouldn't be looking at that. We should be focused on the now. We got 2 mega stars right now, Luka and LeBron. You build around that. You worry about the rest later. If you need to offload contracts to make cap space, there's a way. Look what the damn Milwaukee Bucks just did to create space. They just amnestied somebody and bam, right? So if they can do it, man, we can do it. My guy D3 says the 2-year timeline thing is so puzzling because this team is ready to win now. It's not like Luka is 19. Also, guys don't really sign in free agency anymore. You can't put all your eggs in a basket. Well, we did sign LeBron James to free agency. That was the last big free agent we got. Definitely can't put all your eggs in a basket. But like I said, you can always make trades to make stuff happen. You know, hold on to your draft picks if that's the case. But sign free agents. You know, and I think they want everything, man. They want their cake and eat it too. You know? Randolph said, I'm sorry. I'll always love AD, but I'll never forgive him for complaining to Shams. He is a center of attention. I don't blame AD for complaining only because he was tired of playing the center, fam. So I don't blame him. It was just a move we had to do. I thought it was poor taste for Jeannie to bring his name up like that in her interview. She could have just left it out and just said, hey, it was Luka. You know, we could have kept the high road, but you know, it is what it is. At the end of the day, I don't blame AD for asking for a center. I was happy when he requested this. I wanted this from LeBron as well. You know, I like my star players being very outspoken. You know, and we'll go from there. I love your enthusiasm that Will land Ayton, Robin, Gene, and Jeannie have let us down. I think he's going to the Pacers. My source tells me otherwise, man, and I trust my sources. My source has been right every step of the way. Hopefully, when we get this one right, you guys will believe more in my source, all right? If we get this one wrong, then even I will question my source. But I do believe that Ayton is a Laker. We have to obviously wait till tomorrow till he clears waivers. We'll go there. We'll go from there, right? I don't want to overreact yet to the whole thing, but I'll be excited if it doesn't happen tomorrow. I will go live with the breaking news and all that good stuff. All right, so keep it locked. I think the odds of Jackson returning are pretty high. I bet his agent is like, you're going to get my guy Ayton, and you are going to also keep my guy Jax. Oh God, just keep the women away from Jackson Hayes. That's all I'm gonna ask for. That's it. Just keep them away. Hide your wife, hide your children. Keep everybody away from Jackson Hayes. That's all I'm gonna say. We could hear at any point Clarkson was the exact same situation as Ayton. Facts. We could hear it at any point. We'll go live as soon as it happens. All right, guys, that is gonna wrap it up for us. We unfortunately did not hit my mark of 500 likes, but I do appreciate everybody who did tap in. I'm gonna go and rest my vocal cords because I will be back live as soon as anything pertaining to the Lakers happens. So make sure you guys keep it locked. Stay tuned for all things Lakers, NBA, and so much more, guys. I do appreciate you guys for tuning in. Again, this video was brought to you and sponsored by Underdog and Prize Picks, promo code DTLF. I hope to see you guys later on today because I'm very, very excited to report on some Laker news, and I hope it does happen. So let's get it, guys. That's going to wrap it up for this one, though. Thank you guys again so much. Peace.